his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, everybody in Battle Creek, Michigan, everybody in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in case they were paying attention listening to the show. Quit trying to start wars. Everybody in Moscow, in Russia, Snowden, in the selfie, and worldwide. And if you're on another planet and you can hear it, welcome as well. And you guys didn't know I could speak alien. I know. You guys learn new things every day about me. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, Tripoli's favorite libertarian, my own personal Wikipedia.
Not yours.
Not yours. Mine. A woman that has made some changes in life and
A lot of changes this week.
had a lot of hats that she would wear that took a couple hats off after this week.
Hats off to you.
Hats off to you. A woman that is exudes grace, oozes style, and is just all around a cool chick. Danielle Alexandria, how are you doing?
Good morning.
Did you like that intro?
I did. Halfway through, I didn't know who you were talking about anymore.
Oh, you're like, where's?
Who's that? She sounds cool.
Did you book another guest? Did you book a guest without telling us again, Alex?
Don't have it in my show prep.
Jesus. Also with us in studio, controlling the boards as he does so well. Oh, first off, Danielle, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Right.
I feel a lot better. Some of the hats have come off, and I'm already feeling a little relief.
Are you feeling lighter?
I am. I'm feeling good. I'm kind of, a little more excited. Like, all right, I can do this now.
I got you. I hear you. What the heck is going on here?
That's that guest you booked.
I did not book a guest.
You're going to have to intro me while I answer the phone.
All right. The Prime Minister of the Sinister, a gentleman that will answer the phones when he calls, or when someone calls, and all around just a good guy, I guess you could say. And did I say Prime Minister of the Sinister? I always want to make sure that I get the Prime Minister of the Sinister part right, because it is something that is very important to be able to do. And his name is Greg Bowen. Greg, how are you doing, sir?
Spectacular. How you doing?
Doing very good. So, how's everything going, man? You doing all right?
It's doing great. I'm recovering well.
Recovering well?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a long weekend last weekend.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Everything all right, though?
Yeah.
It was a long weekend.
It was a long weekend.
Productive, but long.
Very productive. Met a lot of great people that people I never met face to face before.
It's always nice when you do get to finally meet people face to face when you meet them online, though. It's a new day. It really does come down to kind of like a new dynamic, to where you feel like you know somebody a lot more, and then when you meet them, like it's a whole different animal.
Yeah. You'll find that a lot of these people are very different in person than they are online too.
Yeah.
And even Jeffrey Neal said it. Libertarians are not a lot nicer in person than they are on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true, because there's a lot of people that you would have figured things would be more contentious. You meet them face to face, but
not nearly as contentious.
Yeah,
that happens.
Well, what was it? Like Jeffrey Neal opened up his speech with libertarians are far nicer in person than they are online.
Yeah. That's true. That's exactly what he had said.
And that was absolutely true.
We absolutely are.
Good awareness, Daniel. Good awareness. All right. Well, let's. Well, I guess we can get started. Except for you guys know that Danielle did put a teaser out there, and typically, the proper procedure for teasers is that you don't say anything about it right in the beginning
You
because
keep teasing it the
Yeah.
entire show, and then you do it like in the last hour.
yeah, exactly. Like that's when
That
you're
is
supposed to do it.
Proper radio procedure for teasers. Now, if we had known that we could run with it, we actually would have teased it all week
Right.
and done a countdown to the teaser, teased it out this morning, and then teased it until the third hour. Although Alex is a libertarian and he doesn't like rules.
That's true. Even
Yeah.
even radio rules, I don't like them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you the announcement now.
Because you don't want anyone to listen for the next 2 hours.
Forget those rules, man.
Look, to be honest with you, you should want to listen to the next couple hours because I am giving a personal guarantee that there is at least 2 rants coming for the show.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think that
There might even be 3.
when I started doing show prep last night, I'm like, man, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And by the time I got through like an hour of looking through stories, I'm like, we are going to have a kick-ass show.
Yeah.
Too much to talk about.
Yeah, like what did you have to take away, you know?
Yeah.
So at any rate, the major announcement is this. I don't know if you guys, let me give you a little bit of a story that goes along with it as well, though. I first met Matt Bruce at an event in Sarasota in a car with, hold on. The other person's name escapes me now. He's, oh crap, what's his name? 820, he does the updates on 820 a lot of times.
I have no idea who you're talking
never
about.
mind.
The story is inconsequential to the
Actual thing. Okay, well, that's when I first met Matt. Me and Matt have always had a good relationship for a long time. I've always done Matt's show, so Captain's America show. I'm a frequent guest on the show.
And he's been on ours quite a bit.
He
too.
calls it, and he calls in. I mean, look, he's probably a lot better at letting me on his show than I am the other way around. Even though if he calls in, I'll let him on. I just don't tell nobody.
Well, we just don't. We don't have. Aside from Brandon, who we kind of set up years ago as a regular, we just don't think to call anyone and say, "Hey, do you want to be on the show?"
Yeah, we don't have. Yeah, other than Brandon, we normally don't have regulars, right? But Matt calls whenever he wants.
Any guest that
and
you've
it's a good
heard
time.
on the show has contacted us. We've not contacted them.
Yes.
And really, all you have to do is ask Alex, "Can I be on the show?" And you're probably going to get a yes.
Yeah, if you ask me, more than likely you'll get it. If you get Danielle or Greg, you're going to have to meet some stipulations.
Yeah, I bet what's going to be on the show.
Yeah.
Is it going to fit into what I have for prep that day? And
That's totally how I ended up on the show.
yeah.
Hold on. That's how Danielle ended up on the show.
Yes, that is how I ended up on the show. And in fact, and this is a funny story because the first time I actually was just talking to him one night, we were actually proofreading on the phone. And I'm like, I heard your show for the first time. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, it's kind of like the man show for libertarians. He's like, well, we need a girl. You should do it. And I'm like, oh, no. I didn't say that because I wanted to do it.
Tough crap.
He's like,
Don't come up with a suggestion without a solution.
Yeah,
all
haven't you
I'm
been
saying.
a part of this movement long enough?
So he's like, just do it once and we'll see how it goes. So I'm like, okay, great. So I call him. I'm on my way down to the studios. It's in Clearwater. He goes, oh, by the way, I didn't tell Adrian. He's kind of weird about letting people on the show. So yeah, good luck. And I'm halfway there. I'm like, I didn't even want to do the show. And now you're telling me someone may not want me on?
Well, because I didn't tell Adrian.
Yeah.
I suck at that stuff. Look, don't tell me anything that's important that needs to be known and you want it to be remembered. You have to tell you have to tell somebody else.
You have to tell me.
If anybody besides Alex needs to know, you better tell them.
Yeah,
not just Alex.
The key here is you tell Danielle.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole key to the whole deal is that you tell Danielle.
I'm the buffer.
Yeah.
Or the one that actually knows stuff.
The one that knows stuff.
I wouldn't call it a buffer. I'd call it the person that knows stuff.
Yeah. Because she'll actually compare it to a schedule and go, wait, we can't do that. And Alex will just say yes and not even care.
Yeah, we'll make it work. We'll make it fit.
Yeah.
That's caused a lot of hate and strife and discontent and bad feelings and
that's just in our house.
yeah.
That's just between the two of you. Not even the person that got edged out because
Yeah.
Because Alex overbooked.
All right, but at any rate, well, Matt had had a major announcement. Matt Bruce, Captain America, is doing something called the Third Watch, which is going to be on from 2 to 6 a.m., early in the morning, on all of the Salem radio stations in the state of Florida. So he's going statewide every day, 2 to 6. And he called me up earlier in the week and asked me if I would be willing to do a daily spot on his show. And I have agreed. And it'll be in the 5:30 to 6 o'clock time frame. So between 5:30 and 6 o'clock is when it's going to be. Now, if you don't know the Salem stations, locally it is 860 WGUL, which is out of Tampa. Then they also have one in Sarasota. They have one down in Miami. They have one in Orlando. And they have one in Jacksonville. Yeah, that's all the different ones. So all of them are there. Now, there's a lot of other people that are on, the reason I think this is a major announcement is a couple things. One, Salem is actually a pretty big radio station. Or Salem itself, it's actually a pretty big area, which is really kind of cool. And even though I do have to seriously adjust my life to do this, I'm more than happy to make the adjustment. And I think there's going to be some good things that are going to come from it anyway. I think I'll be able to, it's probably better to wake up earlier in the morning and do stuff earlier in the morning, before I get to do my regular job, than it is to stay up later at night.
Right.
So I'm going to wake up at 5:15 or 5:30 every day, do the segment, and then do other things. Because I only got to do, I don't have to travel to go do the segment. Thank God. That would have changed if he'd have said, well, you got to come down to the station, be like, oh, no. Like, I'll get up in time to do the show, but I ain't going to be down there in time to do
And
the
you'll
show.
feed from our studio. So you'll still have studio quality. It'll be from our studio. So it's not like you're going to be on the phone. You're going to run through the studio.
Yeah, I'm going to run it through I'll run it through the studio stuff, and that way I can do it in here. And that'll really make Danielle mad because, she can hear it.
Yeah.
So that's always a good time.
So both of us will now be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And then getting to work after that.
Yeah.
So that's the major announcement. I will be on statewide 5 days a week.
All major markets.
All major markets on the Captain's America show in the 5:30 to 6 o'clock time frame. And that's the major announcement. Dun, dun, dun! And honestly, I got to tell you, I thank Matt Bruce. I really do appreciate it. The fact that he even offered it to me was uber cool, and I'm totally gonna, I'm totally gonna do the best job that I possibly can, and to really make that segment shine as much as humanly possible, for multiple reasons. One, for personal reasons, for just self promotion reasons, but also just I'm really glad that I'm gonna be able to have a voice statewide on. To talk about, one issue a day, but, one issue a day, you can really get into a lot of stuff. I mean, every day you're getting something new. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a cool opportunity. I think that, I'm going to be able to give a good perspective. And I think that Captain does a well-rounded show where he does a lot of interviews and he's got a lot of guests on there. For him to think so much of me to a daily guest that does 5 days a week at the time frame in which people will be listening live the most, I actually thought was really cool.
Yeah.
No, it was really cool. And thank you to Matt. I mean, as much as I'm probably going to complain for the first week when I'm being woken up at 5 in the morning.
First month.
The first month, yeah. No, I think it's going to be great for you. I think that, it's going to be a really good thing. And, and I think I actually think you're going to bring a lot of, energy to that time frame in his show too. So I think it's going to be good all around.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to start using crack. So
just a little bit of crack.
Just a little bit of crack.
Just a little bit of crack.
Just a touch of crack. I just got to do a little bit just as a pick me up. You know what I'm saying? I don't drink coffee, so I had to go with crack because it was either coffee or crack. And, there was no way I was going to drink coffee.
That's funny. Out of the two of them, all right, I really got to start waking up. So I can either drink coffee in the morning or I can have some crack.
Coffee's bad for you.
And he went, yeah, I think I'll go with crack.
Yeah.
No, but you do like if we got you like a nice latte, like the mocha ones, like a white chocolate mocha, you would drink that.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Oh, I drink the crap out of that.
So,
I drink that like it ain't even funny. That is crack. Look, that is crack. Look, I don't know what they're doing at Starbucks, but I do think that they're sprinkling crack on stuff. They're sprinkling crack in their drinks, man, because that stuff is. Oh my gosh.
So as much as Alex says that he doesn't drink coffee, he actually does. He's just a coffee snob.
That's what it is.
I wouldn't even call myself a coffee snob. I just like white chocolate mochas. I don't like coffee. I like white chocolate mochas. Now, I have drinking coffee in the past, though. I have to do the salesman coffee. I don't know if you know what salesman coffee is.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you what. You want me to tell you what salesman coffee is?
I guess now that you've said it,
it's
you're
like
gonna
it's-
have people going, "What
It's
the
like
hell
it's
is that?"
It's like anybody that's a salesman will know exactly what I'm talking about.
I've worked in sales a long time. I have no idea, but I've always drank coffee. Maybe that's why I don't know.
You know what? That's why you don't know. It's the it's salesman coffee for people that don't like coffee. And here's what it is. If you ever go to an appointment with someone and you're offered coffee, you're supposed to always accept coffee.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Now, if you don't like coffee, I was always told tough crap, you still got to drink coffee. So what I do is I'll get the cup of coffee. I will put a ton of sugar and a ton of cream in it to where it does not even resemble coffee anymore, and I will drink that.
It's just like really sweet cream at that
I
point.
got
That's
it.
it. Yeah, but pretty much. And I'll drink it. And again, once you get to that level, it's tolerable. You know what I mean? Like you can drink it, but because I'm just not a coffee guy. But I love the smell of coffee too. Weirdest thing in the world. Love the smell of coffee. Don't like drink coffee. However, it's
When
that's
you know
salesman
Alex,
coffee.
that all makes sense.
No, yeah. To him, that's like perfectly logical.
What's that? That I like the smell,
you
but I
love
don't
the
like
smell of coffee, but you
weirdest
don't
thing
like
in the
it.
world. No. I agree that it's weird, man. I'm down.
But you have all these little weird idiosyncrasies that make no sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, man. I mean, that's me though.
That's all of us. We're all the same way.
I mean,
we
everybody's
just
got
don't air 'em out on-
everybody's got little idiosyncrasies. Greg's got some. You definitely have some. Don't I mean, you know, teapot meet kettle. You know, but the only problem is that you do a much better job of explaining my idiosyncrasies than I do of yours.
That's what happens.
Well, maybe also I'm a little bit scared of actually saying them on the air that you might actually hurt me. Maybe that could be a possibility.
She doesn't hold a position on the EC anymore. She can violate the NAP and not lose
And
anything.
not lose anything.
That's a good point, by the way. I got to be doing a better job of being good.
No, I mean, and you know, we've got a lot of changes coming up because obviously I'm not on the EC anymore.
Correct.
Which and honestly, it's
Thank
not
the good
a
Lord.
bad thing. I only was doing it for 1 year just to help the party through a time where they didn't have a treasurer. I barely made it through and I made it through the year, but there was, I kind of told them, listen, I'll get you through the year with doing the reporting and what you have to do, but I can't do any extra over that. And I didn't, and I couldn't. But I had always told them that. So, I mean, I'm so glad to see the party have someone that, can just dedicate to the party and do the treasurer's position. And so that's going to be a really good thing on all sides. I just did what absolutely had to be done. And I always said that was all I was going to do because I was just getting us through a time where nobody else had stepped up to do a job. And it was a job that had to be done.
Right.
So I was very happy to, put that aside. There was a lot of committees that I was chairing, and I did a lot of interim, while you're looking for someone better, I'll keep it going. So I had a lot of committees. For a while, I had more titles than anyone ever should have. I was.
You made the Wayans look unemployed.
Yeah, I mean, I had you couldn't fit it on a business card. You'd have to flip it over and then be continued.
I'm just thinking of a Wayans skit where they're
Her
like,
business card is a scroll.
Pick which one you want. And luckily over the last, several months, people have stepped up to kind of take over these positions that I was really, it was always my idea that I would not be in them by the end of the year, but I was holding places for someone that would come in and better and just keep things running until someone that could really dedicate the time and effort to that committee would step in. So that has happened in all of them. So I'm happy to say that I am actually no longer in any official position whatsoever within the Libertarian Party of Florida. Not that I really love everything they do, but I had taken a position as a legislative consultant this year with the Liberty First Network. I will be a registered lobbyist for the Liberty First Network next year. So it was very vital that I lose some of the titles and be able to just keep. I am now just the radio person and a lobbyist, and that's it. And I needed to be. That's it. And Adrian's campaign manager until November.
I'm just this. Oh, and this. And that.
this.
Yeah. You still didn't get rid of all the titles.
Well, I didn't get rid of all of them, but I got rid of enough to be manageable.
Yes.
I think you're doing a great job, and I think even though you're 10 jobs less than what you had before, you're still going to excel at the other 25 you have.
So that was a good thing. And the convention itself got a lot of media attention. So it was, I thought it was a great convention. I thought it was very well done. Thank you to the Hillsborough Libertarian affiliate, because I think they did an amazing job. And they did something different that I hadn't seen at another convention, which was like the media event.
Yeah, I don't ever remember doing one of those in the past. Having an hour in the hall scheduled for the media.
Yeah.
Now, I know.
And I think in years past, they probably wouldn't have shown.
Right.
Well, no. I know last year the media was invited to attend the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like Collier had kind of put out this all call basically saying the media, it's open to the media whenever you want to come in, not come in, interview people. It's kind of open the entire time. And as much as that was cool to do, I think that really kind of lent to a lot of, well, what would I do there if I came in?
Right. And what time should I go? When would be the best time for me to go?
So I think Hillsborough kind of took it one step further this year. I think they did. It was a great idea. And they set, and this is the media hour. All of our candidates will be up on stage. There's going to be a live audience for the candidates, and the media is invited. And the media asks the questions, and the candidates are there with the audience. So I think it ended up being a great time and really showcased we have some amazing candidates, and you're always telling libertarians around the state, hey, start phone banking. These guys are great. They're so worth your time and effort and money. And I think when they get to see like how great they are at answering the questions and things like that, I think it really kind of invigorates everyone. Like, wow, this is really a different class of candidates than we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I was nervous the whole time.
you were just waiting for something to come up.
I honestly was just trying to manage it as best as possible so it would be over as quickly as I could.
No catapult.
But now, Alex.
Honestly, hold on. No. Let me explain hold on. Let me just say something real quick. Let me explain what it was like. You ever gone and you brought like a girl that you were trying to hook up with to like a family function? And it's one of the extended family functions, and you're bringing her around, and you got to introduce her to everybody, and you just hope that there wasn't enough alcohol consumed by your drunk uncle that you can introduce her to him without incident because you're trying to get in her pants for later. It was kind of like that. It was like, okay, let's introduce all the candidates. God, nobody mess up. Here you go, one at a time. Okay, shoom. We get to once you get like to Lucas, you're like, okay, Lucas is not gonna mess the thing up, right? Like Lucas will do all right, right?
Like the back half of and this is the funny,
even Lucas took a shot though.
Yeah, well, Alex was the MC of the event, which was great, and I kind of was sitting off to the side, but then I noticed that I had helped Deanna kind of plan out the way things would move, and I didn't tell that plan to Alex.
Oh, well.
So I was like, well, I'll just sit back and be in the audience because this will be great, and I'll just be able to sit down and enjoy. And then I realized as the first speaker went up to speak, oh, there is some information that I did not tell Alex about. And that was about moving the candidates, like names and all that. And I'm like, oh, man. So I ended up having to go up and I had to be like the event. So like as candidates came up, and that is not my words.
Wait a second, did you call yourself the Vanna White of
I'm
the
gonna
event?
tell you how it came up.
All right.
One of the reporters, after they interviewed me, said, you could take Vanna White's job. You did a very good job. So that is where I got it from. It was
I don't know
not
if that's
that
a dig or not, though.
I know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure how to take that.
Like, part of me thinks that's a dig, but part of me would be like, oh.
All right. Well, because every time a candidate went to speak, I had to change the names, and it was their sign in front of the podium. So I'd like walk by and move the names and then be like, okay, and then walk away.
Ray Netherwood,
Netherwood.
Lucas Overby, Adrian Wiley,
So
Karen Jones.
Yeah, so that's what I did for the event. Instead of being in the audience like I expected to be. And then we ended up with a lot of interviews afterwards.
Yeah, you could call it that. Call it damage control, but you can call it interviews. Either way you want to look at it, man. It was something. It was a good time, though. I was moving. I was spinning.
There was a few damage control questions that we got.
No, she didn't mean it like that.
No, you just misunderstood.
And in all honesty, that is the truth, though. It wasn't even like a spin.
No, it wasn't a spin. It was the truth.
If you ask the question, you'll get the answer. But if you're looking for a way somebody's going to talk about it, then that's just the way it's going to be talked about. Different people talk about it different ways. So
yeah.
It was beautiful, though.
You just didn't keep asking the questions to get back to where it would have made sense.
I do love the one question that the reporter asked. He goes, "Is there anybody up there that's against Prop 2?"
He said against medical marijuana.
Yeah, against medical marijuana.
And Alex laughed into the microphone. He went because he was kind of like.
Well, Greg was there. He knows.
Yeah. Oh well, but the people listening.
Yeah, they
I got you.
weren't there.
But you were making it like Greg didn't know that.
No. I'm just looking over there because that's my site.
Yeah, she does that all the time.
Don't look at Greg.
So I know
That's just good life
Greg
advice.
was there. We do radio.
I think we do TV.
So as this event is going on, this media event is going on, basically the reporters would ask questions, but if it was a question to all of the candidates, which at the end there was, Alex would kind of say like, who's first? And so it would go to Alex and then he would recognize, candidate at a time. So the guy asked, is there anyone against medical marijuana? And he looked over to them like, who's going to go first? And he went, And it was just so funny as his face looked over to the side and went,
Yeah, none of these guys.
realized what the question was. And he's like, no.
Yeah, I'll save you the time. Save them.
I didn't even let the candidates answer.
He just
They
goes,
go, no.
And he laughed, and then the guy goes, okay, well, I have another question. And Alex goes, as long as it's not that one, okay.
Again, like look, man. Look, I understand that there's certain stereotypes and stigmas that libertarians have. And I understand that one of those stereotypes and stigma does have to revolve around marijuana. And while sometimes it is used to our disadvantage, that stigma, at the same time, it ain't like it ain't true.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you're not even pro marijuana. You're just not against, you're not trying to make it illegal.
Right.
You're pro legalization. For not because you like it, but because we shouldn't have laws against it.
Especially medical cannabis.
Well, yeah, in medical, you put and then it's for the kids.
And, when you start talking about medical cannabis, every libertarian is going to tell you, I am not a doctor. There is no way that I am going to tell a doctor and a patient what is going to be the best remedy for their ailments.
Yeah, there's no libertarian that's that eloquent.
Well, I
Only
just
you.
said it.
Only you. the rest of them go, I like weed.
So, but it was just the funniest
good.
thing as I look over at Alex, who originally, when you
And I was
see,
serious most of the time.
when
At
you
least I
see
thought it was.
like the question processing in his head, where he's like, okay, and he looks over and then went, oh wait, I just heard that. Like, I just realized what he said.
Just realized what a stupid question that was.
So
Are you kidding me?
Do you know where you are?
Yeah.
You realize what convention you're at, right?
You dumbass.
But it was a good time. I actually really thought that the media event went off well. The convention itself was in the newspaper before and after the event, favorably both ways, both times. And a lot of our candidates have now been on WMNF in print, and they've been talking about them on air and everything. So. And I think Lucas ended up in having another article in the Tampa Tribune and things like that. So honestly, locally, the candidates that are here local got a lot of press. They were mentioned quite a bit in the last week. So kudos to the Hillsborough Libertarian Party for setting that up, because it was a phenomenal success for our candidates.
Yeah, exactly.
What was not so successful for candidates was in Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky was a bad time. So,
Going so well there.
give the overall here, because this is rant number one. Is just so you know, not only did we not try to tease you for the whole show, I'm gonna give you a rant first hour too.
Now,
And this one might get messy.
and now anyone who has listened to our show knows that Rand Paul last year endorsed Mitch McConnell for Senate.
Yep.
And at first, there was no one else in the race, and we kind of, although Mitch McConnell is a horrible, horrible person, and Rand Paul cannot say that he believes in any of the things he believes and then endorse someone like Mitch McConnell, and that's exactly what we said. What made it even worse is when a guy named Matt Bevin got in the race, because Matt Bevin was a good candidate. I don't agree with him on everything.
He was all right.
I don't agree with him on everything, because he was still a social conservative, which I wouldn't have voted for him, but I wouldn't have voted for either of them. But if you had asked me who was the better choice, by far Matt Bevin beats Mitch McConnell.
Oh, all day long. Look, for TARP alone, for the bailouts alone, it's enough. And then all the stuff that McConnell had said too. Like all the stuff McConnell said about, we're going to crush the Tea Party and these guys are, bad. Like all the stuff he said was bad in and of itself. But then, and then Rand, supported him, and Jesse Benton went over there to work there and all this other kind of stuff, which, it really sucks. But then, and Bevin was okay, but what happened?
Well, and Bevin had some choice words, even as the poll numbers showed he had a snowball's chance in hell of winning. He did not rally behind the candidate. He called him on the airwaves. He went on MSNBC, which that had to really piss off the GOP. But he went on MSNBC and called Mitch McConnell a pretend conservative.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You could call him a pretend conservative. An authoritarian psychopath son of a bitch might be a better word, though. Because that's what he is. He's a scumbag. He's a disgusting piece of human trash that only shows the hypocrisy of many people that we're about to get to by the fact that what's happened next.
And the thing is Matt Bevin even called out Rand Paul and said that it was all, you can't even believe that. He's like, if you've ever met these people, there's no way these people are friends. This is all a political ploy. This is just so Rand can get some better fundraising going and stuff. I mean, so listen, Matt Bevin didn't hold any punches. He called out Mitch McConnell. He called out Rand. He definitely told it like it was. He was a far better candidate than Mitch McConnell. I wouldn't have voted for him because I won't vote for a social conservative ever. So, wouldn't have gotten my vote, but by far way better than Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
But he lost, and he lost by like 20 points.
He lost big. He lost big.
I mean, it wasn't even close.
Here's the thing. I don't understand I don't understand how you can measure success in the GOP. When in these primaries that you guys are supposed to kick butt at, you lose by 20 to McConnell. And honestly, in all reality, the endorsement of McConnell by Rand Paul was one of the last straws with me. That man is a GOPer first, nothing else second. I don't. It's only going to be that. And what'll happen is, what if Rand does ever get elected? It's going to be like Reagan.
Right, where he talks a good game and then grows the size of
and
government.
doubles the size of the federal government and does all these bad things, but nobody will be willing to call it out. If Rand, and which he won't, the neocons will ensure that Rand doesn't win. But I don't know why they're going to ensure that Rand doesn't win. I think he'll do whatever you want him to do.
Right.
Yeah, he's proven that.
He pretty much. I mean, he'll work outside the lines on some stuff and do a filibuster when there's nothing there's nothing really.
Nothing that is ultimately going to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does filibusters on confirmations.
Which, don't get me wrong, I like the filibuster. I think it's a good time, but he's made it dirty now. Now I don't even like that anymore because of Rand.
Filibuster on a real vote,
Yeah.
not a vote to appoint someone to a position. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yes.
But anyways, so Mitch McConnell wins, and now the Tea Party groups all over the state of Kentucky had really been behind Matt Bevin, and it shows you how effective they were. Great takeover of the GOP they're doing. But now you would think, as they've really said that, Mitch McConnell is a horrible, evil person, that they would stand behind their principles and say he should not win because he's a horrible, evil person. But they didn't. In fact, as soon as he was announced the winner,
they didn't even wait for the body to get cold.
Yeah. Tea Party groups around the state on Tuesday's election day, were already rallying around Mitch McConnell. And not only that, they were trying to spin Matt Bevin's loss. And this is, what they did was they took credit for McConnell starting to sound a little more conservative. So, and this is, and I'm going to read the whole quote, and then I'll tell you who it is. And then Alex will probably yell.
Mm-hmm.
It says, this is how they're spinning it. And this is how quickly they get behind their candidate because they fall in line like good little Republicans. Matt Bevin's principled challenge helped Senator McConnell rediscover his conservative principles come November. Competition always breeds stronger candidates, and there is an improved conservative candidate heading into the general election as a result. Talking about Mitch McConnell.
Are they the ones smoking pot?
It would seem like it. And that came from Matt Kibbe from FreedomWorks.
Oh, wait. Then it all makes sense.
Okay.
Get your coffee, people.
All right. What I don't understand is that when you write a book called Hostile Takeover and you try to anoint yourself as this, I'm going to change the GOP, how getting one of the worst guys in the party you claim to be against, how supporting him lends itself to giving yourself anything more than the label of hypocrite. That most of the things you say are bullshit. When you go on MSNBC and you go on these other talk shows and you talk about a more libertarian bent, I really am angry at the fact that you're trying to co-opt something like the libertarian movement. Because Matt Kibbe, you are anything but a libertarian. You've been in Washington for a long time. People don't even understand it. You were working with Paul Ryan when like you're both aides or something like that. All right? You are a co-opter. You are a agent provocateur in the movement. That's what you are. There's no getting around that. You won't do anything with anybody if they're not a GOPer, and now you will sell and get on your knees for Mitch McConnell. You got down on both knees and just slobbed it up for Mitch McConnell. I can't believe that this is what's happening. I can't believe that you can't even make a principled stand against a guy that voted for the bailouts, that is somebody that has talked trash about you. And now it's, well, the 11th commandment. You're nothing but a GOP hack. That's all you are. FreedomWorks, GOP hack. Not the individuals, because I meet a lot of people that are part of these groups, and they're good people. It just sucks that their leaders are scumbags. It really does suck that you're such a piece of shit, Matt Kibbe. It's horrible how bad you are. You're going to support McConnell. I mean, really? Why don't you just... If Obama had an R next to his name, I'm sure I can hear this coming from Obama. I really could. I know without a shadow of a doubt, you could have Adolf Hitler with an R next to his name, and I'm sure you'd find a way to try to find some positive thing that you could say out of this one. This really irks me. Just stay... You don't have to say anything. You can stay out of it.
Which is what Matt Bevin's doing, by the way. But because when they asked him, when they asked him if he was if he was going to support Mitch McConnell, he did not say he would. He just said that he wasn't going to support the Democrat.
There you go.
But Matt Kibbe says something which I feel is even worse, and the reason why is because I am an actual libertarian. And I get very, very angry when people try to use our label and try to make it mean something else. But this is what else Kibbe went on to say. When the establishment runs on our issues, oh, you mean when they lie to you? It's clear that there is a larger cultural shift happening here. Constitutional conservatives and libertarians are setting the agenda in the Republican Party. Okay, Mitch McConnell won, which actually means that libertarian-leaning people that try to use our term to define themselves because they know how dirty the word Republican is, you're not winning anything. Mitch McConnell won. Mitch McConnell won. Okay, let me say this again, Matt Kibbe. Mitch McConnell won. That means you've lost. You've lost big. You're continuing to lose. And now you're trying to use our label like it's actually doing something, like it actually means anything in the Republican Party. Stop using our label. Like, I would really like to trademark the name libertarian so that idiots like Matt Kibbe can't use it anymore.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing, Kibbe, you're not... Oh, go ahead.
He really said that libertarians control the direction...
Are setting the agenda in the Republican Party. It's a direct quote.
Can you give me 3 words in a row anywhere in the GOP agenda that equals libertarian? It doesn't happen. There is... He doesn't even live in reality.
No. You got to remember... Well, here's the thing, what you got to remember is Matt Kibbe is a friggin' liar, and that he is an establishment hack. That's what he is. Here's the thing. If I was a liar and an establishment hack like he is, then I'm sure this is what you would say. Yeah. If you wanted to actually not change anything in Washington, D.C., then I would do what Matt Kibbe's doing. Because all he's doing it for is power. And not power to change anything, just his own power. Mitch McConnell will not vote for anything libertarian ever. Never. He voted for TARP, man. He voted for the bailouts. I'm sorry about that. I don't understand. Here's the thing. The other part is this. You want to talk about things that are unifying, things that aren't unifying? I'm not the unifier in this one, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not the one that's adding the derision. Matt Kibbe is by supporting somebody that he's claimed to be so much against. He claims that, I'm for this, I'm for this, I'm for this, I'm for this. Well, except when it comes to candidates, because then you can just do whatever you want to do, and I don't care. As long as you got an R next to your name, everything's cool. And I will get down on both knees and handle my business with you however you want me to handle that business with you. Because that's what you did, Kibbe. I hope you got an extra pair of knee pads, because you're probably going to wear these out on McConnell. Because that's what you did, whether you like it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you think that going to C4L events and those guys allowing you in there and other people not actually understanding the truth about you means that you're doing the right thing. I got news for you. Some people can see your bullshit. And some people ain't happy with it, but that's okay. And I got to tell you, the next person that comes to me and says one of our candidates should contact FreedomWorks, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep myself in check. I really don't at this point, because this is BS all day long. This really is like, and the Senate Conservatives Fund, screw you too. You guys sold out too. You guys sold out just like they did. You guys are, again, this is, you guys, I wish you could actually take a principled position against the leadership instead of just getting in line, because if you did that, maybe they wouldn't act like this.
They know you're going to fall in line
at the end of the day. Yeah, at the end of the day, they know that Matt Kibbe with FreedomWorks will never really go against them.
Right.
Because if you guys were, here's the thing. If you guys have tons of money. It's not like you guys are broke. You guys have money coming out of your ass. You give me 1/10 of that money, and I can beat guys like McConnell.
Yeah.
You give us half that money. Half the money you get at FreedomWorks. That's why I'm so mad. You have, the way you're doing it, you're supposed to have all this money to be effective. You get nothing done. All you do is, well, we're going to fight with Matt Bevin. He's not going to win. Go Mitch McConnell. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I mean, I'm so happy that most people that actually see your guys' groups don't believe the way you do. I'm just so happy about that. I'm happy that even your lies aren't even working effectively as they used to anymore. Groups. In your own groups. I mean, we even talked to people last night that know what's going on. Nice to be able to hear that. I mean, look, we got a lot more work to do. But I got to tell you this though: the day that this guy tries to come over to the LP, which, you know, if we're successful, then one day Matt Kibbe will be like, "Oh, I'm going to come to the Libertarians." Honestly, I'm really going to have to lay down a law that says no.
Well, I mean,
I don't want Matt Kibbe in the LP.
well, I mean, he can register as a libertarian.
I don't
but
want him
he
to
won't-
register as a libertarian.
Well, we can't stop that.
I'd like to find a way.
But he won't hold any position.
And I hope Allison Grimes wins the election.
I do too. I don't think they realize, like, when all these people say, well, libertarians just should get back in the Republican Party. We don't want you to win.
I was never in the Republican Party anyway.
Ever.
I don't like the Republican Party.
If I had to leave the LP and go to the Republicans or the Democrats, it would be the
I would
Democrats.
go- and I was I came from the Democrats, although I was only a Democrat for 2.5 years. It wasn't like a big long time in my whole adult life. I registered as a libertarian when I turned 21. It was right before my 21st birthday. So I've been a libertarian a long time. I have no reason to want to see the Republican Party win anything.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Let me just say this real quick. From McConnell's own words, I think we are going to crush them anywhere. McConnell said in an interview with the New York Times in March.
Meaning Matt Kibbe.
Meaning Matt Kibbe and Freedom Works and everybody else like that. I don't think they're going to have a single nominee anywhere in the country. If you work to get that person elected after what they said, now they're not saying that about me. They're saying that about you. If you're willing to put all of that aside, and I know what you're going to say, we're going to do it for our country because that way the Republicans can take care of the Senate. They doubled the size of the federal government with Medicare Part D, no child left behind, and everything else the last time they got into office and they got elected. That's their record. Their record. There's no we. They're going to keep growing government. They just passed NDAA with the provisions that allow for indefinite detention. You think Mitch McConnell's going to vote against that?
Well, he didn't.
Again, you are looking at it through your Republican firster hack eyes. And you're like, well, we gotta win the Senate. There's no we. And you guys are the ones causing division. I just want you to understand that too. Oh, I'm sorry. You're causing the division, not me. I'm pointing it out. You are the scumbags that lie to people because you're saying that, well, we need to all be principled conservatives. Rand goes up on the CPAC. Well, we all need to be principled. I'm going to vote principle over party as I support Jolly. As I support the newest champion of the military-industrial complex. I'm going to support Mitch McConnell, who basically is the king of TARP. I'm going to support Mitt Romney, who started Romney Care, which is now Obamacare that we have around the entire country. That's why you people disgust me. That's why you disgust me. It's not for the other things that you say. It's that you say those other things and then do these things. So people that believe that way, you are confusing them and thinking that this is the right way to go about doing things because the media will only put you on because they won't put people like me on there. But guess what, guys? I'm statewide in June 2nd, and that's only the beginning.
Well, and there was other of our favorite or least favorite senators. I can't even do the whole saying favorite even though I don't mean it.
Right.
Like I can't use his word and say his name and use that word. Like
just throw up a little in your mouth when you did it.
Yeah, I did. I was like, no, not even as a joke will I say that. That's not even a good joke. But another senator this week that we hate, who just shows more and more why we dislike him, was our own Marco Rubio.
DeRube.
Who said
Let's get that blood pressure up a couple more notches.
Yeah, right? Let's go. I mean, while you're yelling, let's just keep going. Let's just keep it up. Marco Rubio said, because he was asked a question about medical cannabis, basically because in his state, there's Amendment 2.
That's Florida.
In Florida. We have Amendment 2 that is for the legalization of medical cannabis in Florida. So they're asking him about it, and his response was, I don't think there is a responsible, because they asked him, what about recreational? He actually says he's against medical cannabis too. But when they asked him about recreational, do you think you'll follow along the lines of Colorado and Washington State? He says, I don't think there is a responsible way to recreationally use marijuana.
That's okay, Rube, because I don't think there's a responsible way to use the force of government.
Right. There you go.
That's a good point, by the way, Greg.
This coming from the guy who lied about when his parents came here from Cuba, who, as Speaker of the House, forgot which credit card he was using and used taxpayer money for his home renovations, who lied on all his financial disclosures as well. This guy is saying that people who smoke pot can't do it responsibly. You can't be sober and be responsible.
That's true.
So, but then it just got even funnier when a day after Rubio says there's no way to responsibly use recreational marijuana, the FBI says it's going to have to employ a bunch of potheads because they don't have any good hackers that don't smoke weed.
Yeah. So I guess you could smoke weed and be a hacker.
You could smoke weed and hack into the FBI's database that they can't protect with somebody who doesn't smoke weed.
Yeah. And here's the thing. This once again goes to show you, this is a great example, a phenomenal example of a disgusting authoritarian psychopath like the Rube, who does not believe in freedom and liberty, who does not believe that that the decisions on how you should be treated for your ailments should be between you and your doctor. So he's closer to Obamacare than he is away from Obamacare. He just wants to put a different name on it and have, more hardened restrictions and be able to put people in jail for different things.
He would prefer it be Rubio Care.
Yeah, he would prefer it to be Rubio Care with basically all the same stuff. And the thing is that he is the great neocon hope. He's a Trotskyite. He's another one of the communists. He's one of these people that he's part of the secession of people that infiltrated the GOP a long time ago. A bunch of commies that infiltrated the GOP and have changed the GOP. And this is what the GOP is Rubio. Rubio is the GOP. For everybody that goes, he's not. Well, this guy's a sitting senator. Sorry, this is your boy. And embrace your boy. You know what I'm saying? You be proud of your boy. Be proud of your authoritarian psychopath boy, Marco Rubio, because that's exactly what he is. Now, the problem is Rubio's an idiot, too, though. And he's like, well, I can't really do that.
What he said was, when he was talking about the legalization of medical cannabis, he says that he basically said the federal government should enforce federal laws. And he said that bottom line, he doesn't see a benefit in legalizing yet another mind-altering substance. He said it isn't good for the country. Okay,
this guy would have voted for prohibition of alcohol, by the way.
He's using the prohibition argument, actually.
I don't know what he thinks the drug companies do for a living, but I would say every year we're getting a whole lot of new mind-altering substances that aren't made from plants. And they're being put on the market legally without any objection from Marco Rubio. So for him to say yet another, no, this isn't another. This has been around forever because it's a plant.
Yeah. Hey, Jesus put it here, or God put it here. Your argument's not with me. God
this
put it
isn't
here.
a new one.
Yeah.
It's been here before you, Rubio.
Yeah. And let's not talk about the founding. Oh, go ahead.
And the fact is that all of the pharmaceutical companies that are giving you lots of money in your conservative leadership PACs and every other PAC up in D.C. so that they can keep putting mind-altering substances in the hands of Americans. You're not complaining about those people. You're complaining about the plant.
That was put here by God. Your problem is with God, which is understandable considering you're probably the devil. Do you know what I mean? Like, more than likely, you are Beelzebub. You are Satan. You are again, you're another one of these disgusting pieces of human trash. Marco Rubio is a disgusting piece of human trash. And I'm not just saying that because I ran against him and I lost. I'm saying it because he's a disgusting piece of human trash. Whether I would have run against him is inconsequential to what he is.
You ran against him because he was a disgusting
Yeah,
piece
I
of
stayed in
trash.
that race and ran against him because he's a disgusting piece of human trash.
Not because you just always had a dream to be a senator.
Because he's a Trotskyite. Because he's a commie. Here's the thing. The commie is Rubio, and he is one of the most despicable kinds of commies because he's like a corporatist commie, too. It's like a fascist is what he is, because he takes all the money from the drug companies so he can fuel his campaign to tell you that a plant that's grown freely, that our founding fathers grew, by the way. If we want to get back to the Constitution on this stuff, how about we go back to the plant they were growing at the time? One of them happened to be hemp. The other one happened to be weed. I wonder what happens there. Now, I know that you can't admit that, even though it's the truth. There's no
Well,
debate on whether it is or isn't the truth.
It's in their letters to each other.
They wrote it to each other. If you could read anything other than the Communist Manifesto, that's a plant that could actually could make us energy independent. Industrial hemp could make us energy independent. Yeah. It could stop us from having to use all the foreign oil. Again, look, I don't care what you fuel your car with at the end of the day. I'm not a global warming person. I mean, I think there is global warming. I think climate change is real, and we have nothing to do with it. But with that being said, we need to start using hemp. We need to start using other kinds of sources because I'm sick of the Saudis controlling our foreign policy agenda. That's what I'm kind of sick of. You know what I mean? I'm sick of what we're doing to getting our service members killed overseas. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of seeing some of the best and brightest in this country come back missing limbs. I'm sick of seeing suicide rates at the highest marks ever. And it's because of chicken hawk scumbags like Rubio that's happening. Now, you want to get in the middle of something about a plant? You want to get in the middle of this, you little man, you? I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But you know what, though? I don't care. The majority of the Americans are with us on this one. As a matter of fact, the majority of Americans are for full legalization, not just the medical. So you can run your mouth and show everybody how out of touch you are. But you know what, though? Come November 2014, there's a whole lot of people that are going to go out and vote. And guess what? A whole bunch of new people are going to go out and vote, too, that have never voted before. They're going out there for one issue, and then one issue is Prop 2, medical marijuana. Guess what? I want you to keep saying what you're saying right here because that'll ensure that none of those people vote for you or any of the cohorts that you have over on the GOP side of the fence. And I hope your party burns to the ground. I hope it burns right to the ground because it needs to in order for us to actually fix this country. In order for us to restore our constitutional republic, we need an RIP on top of GOP on a gravestone in Arlington.
I wouldn't give them that.
Yeah, that's too much respect.
It's too much respect to be in Arlington.
There is going to be a toilet on top of it.
Okay, I'll vote for that.
Okay, we're good on that.
And we're saving a spot for the Dems next. But to be honest with you, you guys got to go first. Because we've seen very clearly how willing you are to co-opt our message, not yours, our message. It's our message, and we're taking it back. Because you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to talk about liberty and freedom in the Constitution. You don't deserve it. Because you don't believe it. That's the end of the day. At the end of the day, you don't believe it. And this has more to do than just marijuana. It has to do with being an authoritarian psychopath. It has to do with the fact that you are willing to cage so many Americans because you don't agree with their lifestyle. That you are willing to put them in jail and throw them away for a long, long time because the people that give you money that own the prisons are just going to keep feeding you money because you're a fascist too. All right, I'm better now. Sorry.
Now, James Comey, who is the director of the FBI, has said a couple positive things about people who smoke weed, saying that the nation's top programmers, he says that all the nation's top computer programmers and hackers really like cannabis. In order for them to hire a workforce that is the best of the best going into the FBI, he says, I have to hire a great workforce to compete with these cyber criminals. And some of those kids smoke weed on the way to the interview. So the FBI has had a zero tolerance on the use of marijuana, and they are basically looking to overturn those regulations because they cannot get a good workforce when it comes to the cyber crimes area of the FBI without allowing marijuana users.
Yeah, I got news for you, too, by the way. There's a whole lot of other people other than those guys that are smoking the ganja at the FBI.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm just saying. You know, look. It is unbelievable how many people smoke weed.
Publicly because of that.
You know how many people smoke weed? I mean, here's the thing, and they don't even understand. Look, there's not 5 guys in America smoking weed. It ain't a multi-billion-dollar business because it's only the hackers. All right, and it goes from the top to the bottom. It's CEOs of companies. It goes all the way down from there. It's top to bottom, and people have admitted it. People have admitted. Look, presidents, you can be president. You can win gold medals. And you think Michael Phelps only smoked weed the one time he got caught? Really?
Right.
I mean, are you that naive?
Oh, you caught me the
He
time I
won
was
gold
trying
medals
it.
swimming. All right, broke records, and he was on the stuff. Now, I'm not saying that it's necessarily a good or a bad thing. Look, it is a drug. It is something that is a mind-altering substance. That is not an inaccurate statement. But sometimes you need your mind altered.
And it is not a performance-enhancing drug.
At all.
I'm just gonna say it is not enhancing your performance unless this is an eating contest. Now,
Maybe hackers, though.
Maybe hackers.
well,
Expand your mind, man. Expand your mind.
I mean, artists, hackers, and competitive eaters. That's about the only people that are who have their performance enhanced by marijuana.
That's a good point. Makes me more mellow. Unless I'm not on it, then.
You're not mellow.
Well, think about it like this, though. Wouldn't you rather have me a little messed up, man, to make me a little more mellow? I wouldn't be. I'm sure the Republicans would rather have that. I'm sure.
No, they wouldn't.
I'm sure Matt Kibbe would rather
I
have
think
that.
there's no good way to use marijuana.
Yeah, there's no responsible way to.
No responsible.
There's no responsible way to vote for your dumbass.
That's right. Yeah, there's no responsible way to vote for Marco Rubio.
And here's the thing too: is that every time they come out with stuff like this, it's like, I know they're only reinforcing my belief that there is no way that you can do anything in the GOP.
Right.
Like, you only reinforced it. There you go. There you go.
There you go. This week we have proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there is no changing the GOP. You guys are losing.
Yeah. and I gotta, I don't like coming on every week talking trash about people that other people like guys like Matt Kibbe, where they really
People
think that
just
these
need
good
to
people
stop liking them.
just stop being. Here's the thing: other people need to stop being dicks. It's not my fault. All right, let's take a break. We got to take a break. Play the music. Man.
I'm trying.
What are you
I'm
doing?
trying to get the.
Oh, if you'd like to call the program, by the way, 1-800-525-4032. Refresh Telecom, 1-800-525-4032. Still waiting for that music.
It is.
Waiting for that music.
Come on, this computer is slow. There it goes.
There you go. All right, guys. Again, Refresh Telecom, 1-800-525-4032, 1787network.com. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
The Libertarian Party of Florida is excited to announce the 2014 State Convention. Join libertarians and friends from across the Sunshine State to hear great speakers including 2016 presidential candidate Darrell W. Perry, the chair of the National LP Jeffrey Neal, plus Donald Belanti, George Phillies, Wes Benedict, Tony Stiles, and more. Be sure to reserve your seat early for the banquet Saturday evening with keynote speaker Judge Jim Gray. Jim Gray, the former judge of the California Superior Court and author of Why Our Drug Laws Are Failed, was Gary Johnson's 2012 presidential running mate. Arrive early to mix and mingle with friends at the Friday Night Social. All special events are open to the public, so even if you're not a registered libertarian, you are welcome to attend. The convention dates are approaching fast. Join us in Tampa Bay, May 16th through the 18th. Go to lpf2014.org to get your tickets today.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with camera. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa law offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
And we're back. Hour number 2, Liberty Underground. If you'd like to call the program, the number is 1-800-525-4032. Again, the number is 1-800-525-4032. Refresh Telecom. They won't sell your information to the feds. Or they won't give your information to the feds without a warrant or something along those lines. So either way, they're not getting it. So it's always good. And big shout out to Dave Levitt, by the way. Love Dave Levitt. You know what I mean?
What an amazing job he did at the convention.
Yeah. Just amazing job he's doing all around.
Yeah.
You know, one of the good guys. You know what I'm saying? One of the good guys. One of the good guys. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy. So, where are we going to next, Danielle? You want me to give you a minute? You want me to keep bloviating for the next 30 seconds?
I'm looking up the roll call vote for another story, but the show prep is up there. I thought you'd be able to go. I thought I'd be able to look this up and you'd be able to,
Oh, my bad.
go to the...
Well, I thought we were working it out. Like you were introducing things and then I was providing the color and then Greg was providing color and providing a different perspective and being an American.
But she's being Wikipedia right now.
All right. At any rate, let me just say this, though. For all the, 99.9% of the Republican politicians are bad.
Yes.
But there is one good one. And boy, is he good. And you know he's good because they're coming after him.
Well, yeah, that's how you know.
So, and this is the ultimate, you want to talk about the ultimate principled person? It's Justin Amash. Justin Amash put up this bill called the Freedom Act. Now, what did the bill do, Danielle?
Well, he put up what it was called the USA Freedom Act, and what this would have done was limited what could be collected as data through the NSA. Yeah. So there would not be any bulk collection. They would have to have a warrant when they collected. It would have to be a specific person for, probable cause and things like that. And the FISA courts would have to function like a regular court. So there would have to be arguments on both sides. Where right now a FISA court is only hearing one side of, we need the information, so give it to us. And they're not hearing anyone argue the merits of actually protecting the rights of the people. So his actual bill would have done that. It would have made the FISA courts been like regular courts, and it also would have, limited what the NSA could collect, and there would be no bulk collection of data. Well, there were some backroom deals done on this bill. And in the backroom deals, it was watered down. And we talk about a lot of bills being watered down in Tallahassee. Well, it happens in D.C. too, but it happens way worse when it comes to D.C. Because every legislator patted themselves on the back for passing this USA Freedom Act, except Justin Amash. Justin Amash took to Facebook because he is very adamant about every vote he makes, he puts out on his Facebook page and explains exactly why he voted the way he did. Well, he came out and basically said, he normally does this after he votes. Yesterday, he did it before he voted. He basically excoriated this bill online and was started with, today, I will vote no on the USA Freedom Act. And then he goes into a very, very long reason on why he's going to say no. But this is the best. What he says is, it's shameful that the President of the United States, the Chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and the leaders of the country's surveillance agencies refuse to accept consensus reforms that will keep our country safe while upholding the Constitution. And it mocks our system of government that they worked to gut key provisions of the Freedom Act behind closed doors. He says, the American people demand that the Constitution be respected, that our rights and liberties be secured, and that the government stay out of our private lives. Fortunately, there's a growing group of representatives on both sides of the aisle who get it. In the 10 months since I proposed the Amash Amendment to end mass surveillance, we've made big gains, and we will succeed.
Boy, I like that guy. I got to tell you, big fan.
That's a principled stance.
God, I wish he'd get out of the GOP.
I know.
Like, I would feel so much better about him if he would just leave.
Yeah, he totally doesn't believe.
Like, you were totally in the wrong party.
What happened with this, and listen, this is being heralded by the House of Representatives as this great win for liberty for the people. We're not going to collect mass data on you anymore. And this is what, because, I've actually come to, especially because I really do focus on Tallahassee, so I don't read any of the legislation that goes on in the federal government. But when I see a news story saying that the government did something good, I check Amash's page.
Yeah, just to make sure.
Was it good?
Was it good? What does it really mean?
Let me get Justin's idea on this.
So it's like, what would Justin Amash do?
Yes. Now I'm going to lay out the newest conspiracy right now, live on the air.
Let me get my tinfoil underwear.
Get your tinfoil underwear on. Here's the newest conspiracy. I believe that Rand Paul and Justin Amash were switched at birth.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah, I actually think you might be right. But what this bill actually does is, while they say, they can't, what the bill says is that that the government can no longer go to a telephone company and say, you need to turn over all of your records every day. But what it does allow for, without probable cause, according to Justin Amash, is a telephone company to turn over all call records for, say, area code 616, or for phone calls made east of the Mississippi. So while all of your representatives come back from session and start doing their town halls as they all campaign to be reelected, and they say, we protected your rights, there's no mass collection from the NSA anymore. They're lying. Because I don't know what they consider bulk collection, but I would consider everything east of the Mississippi as a pretty large bulk.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to tell you, from my understanding of the word and the definition of the word bulk, that east of the Mississippi would be considered a bulk.
That would qualify, right?
I think so.
I think you could break it down to smaller parts, and those smaller parts could still be considered bulk.
Say area code 616, like Justin Amash says. I would still consider area code 616 bulk.
I would consider a zip code bulk.
I would even consider a neighborhood, a block. That's bulk.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with that. You're right. I'm going to have to go with that.
So, and we know that we're going to have representatives come back from D.C. because everybody's up for election in the House. And they're going to be telling all of the people how much they fought for them and how much they now are protected against the unconstitutional bulk collection of data by the NSA.
Yep, because they've now codified into law that they can bulk collection of data.
Right. And FISA courts they're not going to run the same because this is what all your representatives are going to say. We protected you against those FISA courts. Because now they will hear both sides.
Kinda.
By the government. The same government that wants to take your data is now going to argue the case on why they don't need your data. I don't know how mightily they're going to be fighting for you.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it really is about the worst thing you've ever seen. Again, thank you, Republicans. Stay evil. You're bringing us more people every day. I appreciate that.
So, and I have, I actually, and I just kind of noticed this within the last few months is because I do focus on Tallahassee. I don't think that I need to focus on the federal government because honestly, I think they're a lost cause. And I've made no bones about that. I think we need to fix our state. But I do tend to find myself if someone says, well, what about my representative? They are good. I put their voting record up against Justin Amash's.
Yeah.
Are they now? Well, let's see.
How did Amash vote? I don't really know what that bill said, but how did Amash vote? Because I trust he voted right.
Yeah.
We're going to use him as the litmus test as to whether or not your vote was right.
I do. I actually use Justin Amash's record as like the baseline. How much are you in line with Justin Amash? Then I'll tell you if your representative is worth a damn. Although I always generally say no.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the area in Michigan where that Justin Amash represents, your congressman sucks.
Yeah.
My congressman sucks. I ain't going to deny that. He sucks out loud.
We have the same congressman.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We don't?
Mine is David Jolly.
Oh, that's right. Because you're not far enough north.
No.
Yeah.
Because our congressman Adrian has the same as us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that far north you
Yeah.
are able to. I think he's just on the line though.
Yeah, Adrian might be the line there.
Yeah, he might just be on the line though, because it's only North Pinellas that has what's his name?
Billaracus.
But we do agree
Billaracus.
my congressman sucks, right?
Oh no, we agree.
Okay,
Your
okay.
congressman sucks.
David Jolly?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, our congressman sucks equally as bad.
Who's yours? Billaracus?
Billaracus.
Oh, yeah. Out loud.
Yeah. Now, what else passed? And I love how I have to get these things. And this is I can't find the roll call vote. I got distracted from trying to find it. What else? And I love that I find these on RT because nobody actually in the mainstream media talked about the fact that the NDA was reauthorized this week.
Yes.
But RT did.
Of course.
And RT was the only one that talked about an actual amendment that was sponsored by Smith and Representative Smith and co-authored by Representative Paul Brown from Georgia that would have repealed the provisions in NDAA that would allow for indefinite detention, and it failed.
Of course it did.
And you couldn't find the. You were looking for it?
That's what I was looking for when you were like, "So what are you doing
All
over
right,
there?"
we'll keep looking for that while we discuss the provisions of the NDAA. Now, the thing is that every year they're trying to get rid of these provisions, and every year they're stopped from getting rid of these provisions. And just so you understand that this shows the bipartisan nature of the politicians in Washington wanting the ability to indefinitely detain you without trial. Again, one of the features, like if I was going to do a checklist of what an authoritarian psychopath would do, this would be one of the checkboxes. So they have an opportunity to take one of these checkboxes away, but they don't. And the reason that they don't take this checkbox away is because they love the ability to be able to indefinitely detain you. And that even though you do have a bipartisan, very, very small minority of bipartisan people that are trying to do something, people that actually like want to do something with civil liberties, that want to actually secure your civil liberties, they are not going to be doing this. And the reason why is because, again, like I said, they love the ability to indefinitely detain you. And it is the love shared by the establishment of both the Republicans and the Democrat parties. No matter what these people say to you to your face, no matter what, they love the ability to indefinitely detain you. And even when they tried to get these provisions, again, they're not trying to get rid of the National Defense Authorization Act, because you can't get rid of that, because unless you don't want to fund the military, which I like the military. I wish they would do a lot less than what they do, but it's not in some ways it's not their fault, because they're not the ones sending them overseas for declaring war, or not declaring war and just sending them overseas, and they're not the ones helping Al Qaeda on record. It's well documented. It really is. I'm not even making. I'm kind of making a joke, but at the same time, it's true. It's totally well documented. Libya, Syria. McCain does selfies with them. Like, oh, you guys are the terrorists. Oh, let me get a selfie. But the thing is this though. McCain also is the one that says, you here in America, you're the bad guys, and so we're going to make sure that we get you, and that we want to be able to violate the Constitution to do that. So we're going to have those provisions in there that allow for them to be able to do that.
Okay, I found the roll call vote on the amendment.
So who voted on the amendment? Let's see where we were going at in the state of Florida.
All right, well, let me find Florida. All right, in Florida, the ayes were Corinne Brown, Alan Grayson, Kathy Castor. These are ayes is good. This stripped out the indefinite detention.
Okay.
So Patrick Murphy, Alcee Hastings, Theodore Deutsch, Louis Frankel, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Frederica Wilson, Joe Garcia. They all voted yes, which would... Okay, let me explain. The amendment was to strip out the provisions of the NDAA that would allow for indefinite detention. So this was a good amendment.
Okay.
This is Representative Smith wanted to strip out the provisions of NDAA that would allow the government to indefinitely detain you for no reason. All the Republicans voted no. So that means Jeff Miller, Steve Sutherland, Ted Yoho, and Andrew Crenshaw, Ron DeSantis, John Mica, Bill Posey, Daniel Webster, Richard Nugent, Gus Bilirakis, David Jolly, Dennis Ross, Vern Buchanan, Thomas Rooney, Maria Diaz-Balart, and Alina Ross. I don't even know who that is.
Alina Ross Latham.
Latham. Well, that's not how the name is spelled. But anyways, they all voted no.
Yeah.
Yeah, our congressman sucks.
Wow, man, that really sucks, by the way. Even Yoho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this would, like I said, this would strip out the provisions. This would eliminate, and this is what the amendment did. This was the Smith Amendment to eliminate indefinite military detention of any person detained under the authority in the U.S., its territories, or possessions by providing for immediate transfer to trial and proceedings by a court established. So that means before you could be detained indefinitely, they'd have to put you in court. That's what the amendment said.
On American soil.
On American, yeah. If you were in American territories or, on American soil, that you would have to be tried before you could be indefinitely detained. Yep. That's what the amendment did.
Now, also what this means is that there is not one Republican in Florida that's in Congress that deserves for you to vote for them.
Only 15 Republicans total voted for this.
Yeah.
And Amash was one of them, right?
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, Michigan, in case you were wondering.
Yeah,
I would bet Amash abstained because it wasn't enough.
No, he voted aye.
Okay.
He did vote for it.
He did vote for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so did Mark Sanford in South Carolina.
Sanford, boy, watch out.
Yeah. John Duncan.
I don't know who that is.
He's in Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yeah. I'm looking
Get the rope.
For the 15. Scott Tipton in Colorado.
Way to go, Scotty T.
It's mostly Democrats that voted for this.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find the 15 out of these Republicans that voted, because it's done by state.
Yeah, the one you're looking at is done by state.
It's done by state, yeah.
Okay, you can't figure it out anymore.
Yeah,
It's all right, though. And the ones in Florida, we knew about the ones in Florida anyway.
Yeah, the ones in Florida. Paul Gosser from Arizona was a Republican.
Big G, Paul G.
He also voted for it, but most Republicans voted against it. It did fail. This would not have... a lot of times what they do is say, well, we had to pass the NDAA because that's what funds the military.
Correct.
So this was, and I'm not talking about the roll call vote just for the entire bill. This is just one amendment. And the amendment would say everything else stays, except you can't detain us without a trial. That's it. Everything else that's there, you just have to try it or you can imprison us.
Yep.
Yeah, they even said, hey, you can keep them forever, too. Just give them a trial.
Just give them a trial.
Yeah.
Keep them forever, just give them a trial.
Which is why I expected Justin Amash to abstain and go, no. We still have to, like, end this at some point.
Tim Hulskamp from Kansas, also a Republican that voted for it. And Thomas Massey. Although I have to say Massey does vote. I mean, his voting record is very close to Justin Amash's.
Yeah. Massey's not bad either. Yeah, Massey's not bad. I mean, Amash is, like I said, switched at birth.
Right.
I'm starting to believe this now more and more.
I had actually saw that very, people were as Rand Paul was making these horrible endorsements, people were like, Justin Amash, the lost son, and I'm like, no, I think they were switched, even though they're not the same age.
I think it was a very elaborate scheme to switch, actually.
It's very elaborate.
Very elaborate. Really sucks, too, man. Really, really sucks because, man, Amash is so good. Like, the GOP doesn't deserve you, man. Like, win this election and go MPA. Or go Libertarian or go something, man. Just get out of there, man. People
like Louis Gohmert, who are always touted as these Republican-leaning, also voted no.
Well, yeah.
With Yoho.
Of course Louis Gohmert would. Like, again, that's the other thing that irks me about some of these guys is they're going to go like, oh, this guy's a great champion of whatever. No, he's another authoritarian psychopath, And I feel bad that I got to tell you that everybody sucks, but everybody sucks. Sorry. Except for Amash. Look, Amash is cool. Massey's cool. We got those two. You got those two, man.
Those two.
That's cool.
Walter Jones from North Carolina voted for it. Tom Petrie and Reed Ribble from Wisconsin also voted for it.
Yeah, and it's not like any of the Democrats are any good, by the way, because they'll screw you in another way. They just don't want to indefinitely detain you just yet without a court order.
Now, this is funny. Now, James Sessenbrenner, he's from Wisconsin. He actually he co-wrote the Freedom Act with Justin Amash. So he did not want the NSA to be able to use bulk data collection, but then voted for voted to keep the provisions in the NDAA to indefinitely detain you.
Does schizophrenic mean anything for these people? Or bipolar maybe might be the better word for it? Because it sounds to me like a lot of bipolar.
That's not how this works.
Yeah,
that's not how any of this works.
All right, what's next?
And last on my list of, federal things that happen, how many people need to die under someone's watch before you fire them?
I would typically go with the answer of one.
You would, right? It would be one person dies.
Call me crazy.
Under your watch, you're fired, right?
Clearly, that's not a government job.
No. The House Speaker Boehner says he's getting closer to asking Veteran Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki to resign.
Yeah.
He's closer.
He's closer? What else does he need?
He doesn't say. They say they believe new leadership at the Department of Veterans Affairs is imperative to fixing the wrongs, just maybe not at the top.
Well, I can understand why they wouldn't want anybody to start looking to the top to hold anyone accountable, because the gaze then comes to him.
Well, Boehner said...
The gaze?
Gaze.
Oh,
gaze as in where your eyes are.
Oh, my God. Why are the gays coming to me for this issue?
They love veterans. Don't mess with my veterans. They're coming for you.
Like the village people or something. I don't know.
Boehner said, I've not called for General Shinseki to resign, although I have to admit I'm getting a little closer.
Can I push you? John, please.
Off a cliff.
with Paul Ryan.
He also went on to say, these are men and women who have served our country, and we're not just letting them down, we're letting them die. This is awful stuff, and somebody ought to be held accountable for it. I have someone you may be able to hold accountable.
Just a guess.
But as long as you're closer, like, really?
How can you not call for this man to resign now? How you should have already.
It should have already happened.
Yeah, it should have already happened. Now here's the thing: maybe he's not the one that killed him directly, but he allowed for it to happen.
Like, he didn't hold a pillow over their face.
Not that we know of.
At least not on all of them.
That guy might have done. For all I know, that's what he did.
But at the end of the day, he so failed at his job that veterans, people that served our country, died. That's it. They died. And not one, not two, many. Our veterans are dying because they're not getting the proper medical care. This guy is in charge of that. And Boehner is closer to looking at maybe, possibly, someday in the future, he shouldn't have the job anymore.
Yep. Dude should be in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but again, yeah, you got, and this again, once again, is to show you, Republicans don't support the troops.
No.
Neither do the Dems, but you know, they'd rather let the veterans die than get anything done with it. It's shameful. It really is shameful.
Well, the Republicans, the Democrats, they're all the same. Once the soldiers have outlived their usefulness, they're done with them. They have no further need for them. They want them as cannon fodder. They want them to go over there and kill brown people on the other side of the planet. Once that's done, they do not care at all.
Yeah.
Now, and I do have to go because I have to go back to, we were talking about Mitch McConnell and you know, everyone who's like, oh, well, we can't let the Democrat win. Well, I'm going to tell you what the Democrat said. The Allison Lundergren Grimes, who's running against Mitch McConnell, says that this was a breach of trust that cannot be repaired with our veterans. She's calling for his resignation. Mitch McConnell has declined to pass judgment on the VA chief.
Yeah. I mean, I don't trust Grimes either, though. I'm sure she...
Listen, I don't either. But on this issue, she's right.
Yeah, what she said is correct. Whether she believes it or not, I don't know about that. But I'm going to go with that she doesn't. But, you know, then again, I'm just being very jaded right now.
We can't help it.
I'm being very hateful towards them all.
We've paid attention for too long.
Yeah.
We can't help but be jaded.
Yeah, exactly. So I really don't like these people. And again, they're willing to let our veterans die than to try to help them.
Well, and you know, and you always hear this, you know, when they talk about why we need socialized medicine or why we need, you know, welfare programs or why we need all of these different things, they'll say, but if we don't have them, people will die. And then when you show them that, you know, the amount of people that actually are even harmed by this are so low, and they'll say, but even one person is too much.
But wait a minute. People are dying waiting in line for these services.
Right.
You can't even get to them to help them to keep them from dying. They're waiting in line and dying.
Well, they're waiting in the secret line.
Right, because this is the secret line.
Yeah, it's a secret line. It's what they do is they put them on a separate waiting list, so it doesn't count towards their 14 days.
So when you see something like this and when you hear all these politicians go on TV and sell you on this new program that's going to cost billions of dollars because one person fell through the system, and they say, well, one death is too much. But you can have hundreds of deaths in the VA, and that's not enough. That's not too much because those people are still going to have their jobs.
Yeah.
One death is too much? How many died in Benghazi?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. How many are dying overseas in all the unconstitutional wars?
Oh, a whole bunch. And not only that, though, but suicide rates are the highest they've ever been. Again, if we're going to talk about supporting the troops, we're going to talk about what we're going to do about our service people. Now that we're having, you know, now that it's Memorial Day weekend, I think we should have this discussion. We should talk about political parties and which ones actually support the troops. So there's people, A, who are willing to have them go overseas for unconstitutional wars, who are willing to look the other way when the VA gets them killed, who doesn't really do anything to help them other than just talk good about them in a speech and use them to step on them when they're running for office. Or B, the people that actually want them to come home and don't want them to get hurt to begin with, but are willing to make sure that the funding is done to keep the promise that was made to these people through things like the VA. Who's really supporting the troops and who is using them?
Well, both parties are using them.
Both of them are using them. But the ones that are actually supporting them is us.
Right.
You know, and again, I spent 8 years in the military. How many years did Rubio spend in the military? Oh, I know, none, because he's a chicken hawk. You have to have served. You don't have to have served in order to go into office. But if you're going to go up there and tout the crap that they're touting, it would be helpful if you at least served so you knew what the hell you were talking about. Because you don't. And Rubio doesn't know because his military-industrial complex masters are the ones that tell him to do things anyway. But at any rate. Is it Brandon? Okay. On the line with us right now, a good friend of the program, a person that did not vote to indefinitely detain all of us forever, Brandon Jones. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
I definitely did not vote to detain anyone.
You did not vote. That's good. I'm glad that you didn't.
I did not vote. That is not on my voting record. And I will say a new survey came out this week that substantiates your claim that military service is one of the traits that most people find positive in a presidential candidate. It was one of the new surveys that came out this week by the Pew Research Center.
Nice.
The big negatives, though, were a little shocking. The big negatives were the lack of experience and atheism, which I thought was an odd mix.
Wow.
What was the third thing?
The atheism was the top negative trait. Just nudging out inexperience.
Wow, I wouldn't have thought that, but all right, we'll go with it though. All right, so what else is going on out there in the global dispatch world, Brandon?
Global dispatch world. Well, the federal employees have spent about $1 million of money that was donated for charity by going on a fun little spending spree. It involves food and vacation time, Las Vegas, all those fun things. They've done this before, so it's not necessarily as much of a shocker as one might expect. But things haven't changed.
So you're saying that they used it was charity donations. Can you explain how they got the money?
It was literally an event that was set up with the federal employees, and this money was brought in with the idea that people were donating to charity. But because they were there to run this event, they felt that they could also dip into those funds and use them for their own personal expense, entertainment, and those kinds of things.
Oh my gosh! And they spent how? And so you said it was it was over $1 million of the charity money that they used.
Yeah, and they're trying to get a pass on not being penalized because it's quote not taxpayer money. So that somehow makes it okay.
Because people voluntarily gave that money as a charity contribution, so they don't think they should be held.
So therefore, yeah. We want to hold them any ethics values. We don't want to hold them any sort of, misrepresentation because as a federal employee, just because it wasn't actually taxpayer money that they cheated and basically stole.
Oh boy, it really is awesome on how these. Doesn't it seem like that the federal government or the government entirely hates charities and wants to do as many things to mess charities up as they possibly can?
Well, and they're just incompetent at helping charities or charitable groups or whatever the appropriate victims are they're trying to help. And we know from, countless surveys and data that, private donated money, different outreaches that are privately run are a million times more successful than the corrupt that get involved with the government programs.
Well, no, and I know what you're saying there, but I want to take it a step further though, because I'm sure you've noticed some of the other things that are out there where if you go out and feed homeless people in the park, that you're fined for it. That they are, there is a war on charity going on by the government right now, a war on private charity, I guess you could say.
Well, it just falls under a war on freedom because they don't want you being able to do things that don't involve them getting a cut of some sort of money. So you got to have the right kind of permit to feed a homeless guy because, you're technically a food truck or you're technically this or you don't meet these kinds of standards or you don't have a permit to protest in the park. And so whatever it does to impede freedom, and then they can basically just, shake you down with mafia-type tactics, basically. It seemed like such a hyperbole if we said this thing 10 years ago. Now it's ridiculous when they're shutting down a little boy's lemonade stand and, Girl Scouts can't sell cookies on this corner because they don't have the right kind of permit because they're in this city zone and not this county zone and things like that. And that's just where it's become spiraling. But you know what? The citizens don't stand up and do anything. So when it comes to your neighborhood and you're upset about it, just know there was 20 other instances that happened before that led up to it.
Yeah, no, very, very true. Very, very true. What else is going on out there, Brandon? That that hit your craw?
Well, Boko Haram, which I insist on calling them actually by their name and not just a vague, faceless Islamic terrorist or Islamic group. They didn't even get an extremist group, so I'm not quite sure. I thought we were supposed to try to at least delineate the extremists versus non-extremists in Muslim culture, but Boko Haram now is going to be faced with a minimum of 80 U.S. troops and our drone. We have a Predator drone now flying over Chad and Nigeria border looking for these kidnapped girls. Now, many of them have probably already been sold to other Muslim men, but this is what we've decided to do, at least for now.
So they're looking for the guy. I mean, can't
it's
we
not
just
a guy? I mean, it's a group. It's a group that has been in place. We've been covering Boko Haram now for over 4 years. So they're just a terrorist group that, instead of being called Al Qaeda, Al Nusra is in Syria. Different groups. Theirs is called Boko Haram, which is been in play for a long time. So now we're finally getting involved, and we're, quote, using a drone and soldiers there on the border with Chad, which, because that's the northern border there of Nigeria, is up against Chad. They think they may have crossed over the border.
Oh, I got you. Well, we'll see what happens there.
That's all for appearance's sake. It's because of the public outcry. They're making it look like they're doing something. They don't care.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same situation we've run in before. I mean, people paid attention to Boko Haram for about 10 minutes when they murdered two European contractors, and then, nothing really came of that. There was no one to really round up and put on a public stage for them, to do anything with, so it just kind of drifted away. This is the same kind of thing. These people are driven by ideology. There's no negotiating with these folks. These people are kind of off the deep end, and, what are you supposed to do here? You're just going to... I mean, at least the drone is, quote, allegedly unarmed, but I'm not sure exactly, why we needed a Predator for that. That's a very expensive piece of equipment, so hopefully they don't shoot that down.
Yeah, or give it to the Iranians. That's always a bad thing.
Well, maybe they'll give it to Chad. Chad doesn't have one, as far as I know.
Well, yeah, we can give him one. I guess we can give Chad one.
They'll just say, "Oh, wow, we lost it. Sorry." That's how Chad gets one.
That's how Chad gets one. Maybe this one is for Chad.
Or Chad will agree to give us a base right there. So there's some sort of financial exploitation that we can garner, and we get Chad a drone. It all works out for everyone.
Now, before we get to the next story from the Global Dispatch, I did want to ask Brandon on my new conspiracy theory, and I wanted to know his take on whether. Hey, have you heard the conspiracy theory yet, Brandon?
That you've been discussing this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed the conspiracy theory. Was that the top of the show?
Well, it was a little.
It was
inside it a little
bit,
little bit before you. But at any rate, I do have a conspiracy theory right now that Rand Paul and Justin Amash were switched at birth.
Well, I don't know. Ron did hire Benton for a while, so we kind of have to be a little skeptical of the genealogy here. Maybe we need to elevate Justin's parents to more public office, so that's where the fault is. But it does tend to make a lot more sense, doesn't it? At least with the consistency and the voice here. I mean, Rand is kind of all over the map and sells himself out almost as quick as he does something that you're happy with, and Justin Amash just does not care. So it's definitely more parallel to Ron Paul's legacy than his own son.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what else out there that's going on that you wanted to make sure we brought up?
Well, we have at least ventured into some conspiracy theory ourselves, in that at least the media pays attention to the VA scandal, and our assertion is going to be because that actually travels upward, but doesn't go to the inner circle of the White House. So while the press will ignore the IRS scandal, the AP phone scandal, the Snowden situations, Benghazi, the endless number of things that have happened to the Obama administration, the VA scandal is worthy of coverage because it actually doesn't implicate any of their favorite politicians like Hillary or Obama himself.
I got you. Because the smoking gun probably will not be in Obama's hand on this one, that they're willing to cover that kind of stuff?
It almost certainly is not. Yeah, it almost certainly is. We discussed the VA thing last week, of how it's not so much a reflection of anything that's happened in this administration. This is just the byproduct of a massive healthcare run system by the government. So if we had a Medicare-only clinic, we would see the exact same type of negligence, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I agree with you.
And I think that the negligence has been going on way before Obama was in office.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the co-founder of the Dispatch, Robert Harriman, worked, in the VA himself, worked in the hospital, and says, listen, this was going on in 1981. Mm-hmm. So, this isn't something new. This dates back this entire time, because it's the incompetence is not the issue here. It's the fact that it's just become public because we had to have the tragic death of over 20 people pass away within such a short period of time.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's sad that here's another, since we're going down wild conspiracy roads here, I'm going to go down another conspiracy here, that if the Republicans were in charge, that this would have been glossed over on Fox, that it would not have been made the story that it, because it was the Obama administration, is that the reason that they dedicate so much time to it, which I'm glad that they're dedicating time to it, but at the same time I realize that the only reason they're doing that is because they're trying to embarrass Barry Soetoro. But and again, I'm mad at all of them today, so it's not even there's nobody up there that is worth saving at all. What else is going on before I get into movie stuff? What else is going on out there news wise? Important stuff.
Well, I'll transition for you then. Let me just touch on briefly Pastor Saeed Abedini. He's an American pastor that's been jailed in Iran now since September of 2012. And in front of family members, he was ripped out of the hospital and beaten and drug off to prison again. So for those folks that don't want to believe the severity of the situation and what this man has endured, just know that his wife actually did an interview. We've spoken to her twice. And she did an interview this week that really almost just brings tears to your eyes to realize what this person and this family is going through. There's a documentary that's coming out this week before Memorial Day called The Hornet's Nest, and this was based on the ABC embedded reporters of actual footage, live footage that was actually there. So it's an amazing, you're in the middle of the crossfire. It's just an amazing thing. So keep your eye out for the Hornet's Nest. And, of course, the Washington Redskins are still racist, and the Senators are rallying behind another name change. We got to have some more pressure there because it's very important right now with NDAA and all the other stuff that, it's been kind of going on this week. We must focus on the Washington Redskins.
Well, that's the important news.
Yeah. The Redskins is what's so important, by the way. That really is the important part.
We know people are offended. That's all that matters. People are offended.
You
have the freedom to be offended.
Indians aren't offended.
To be offended.
I know.
Indians aren't offended.
Some are.
Are you offended, Greg?
Not really.
And most Indians I've ever heard that have talked about this subject are not offended.
I mean, I don't like it, but it's like
you're incorrect. The Cleveland Indians are offended. You misunderstood what Greg was saying.
Oh, I gotcha. That's another one where the Cleveland Indians. It's a noun. It's Indians. Like, go with it.
Quite honestly, I'm more offended by them acting like now they care what Indians think.
Well, yeah.
When we were slaughtering them like animals and calling them animals and breaking every promise we ever made, we didn't care. Now, centuries after it's all over, we're going to feel a little guilty about our racist terminology. Please, save it. Shut up, people.
Yeah, it's the Redskins. Calm down. Take a pill. War's over, Greg. Calm down over there. Now, I did want to get into, to lighten up the mood a little bit here. Did you watch the last show of Revolution, Greg? Brandon?
Yeah, I did. I'm all right with it. I mean, it is what it is, and they've all moved on and got other jobs, so I guess that kind of buttons up Revolution. What do you think?
No, I had another question for you. Do you think that was what they were going to be ending the season with anyway?
Oh, boy, I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough call. Because I don't think so. I doubt it.
You don't think so? You don't think that's how they were going to end it to begin with?
I think there was probably a few revisions and stuff to make it a little bit cleaner, thinking that they pretty much knew, at least the producers probably knew, that was pretty much going to be it. All the writing was on the wall that this was not going to last another season.
Yeah. It was, and look, the end ended up being okay. I'm glad that they got the whole thing solved with, with the President of the United States. And now did you watch it, Brandon?
Yeah.
I thought that the argument that the president and that the blonde woman was getting in at the end was actually kind of a good speech, a good argument back and forth, and that the guy that was the president, in a weird way, had a little bit of a point there.
No, I thought it was it's done, and I think that's probably the part that was rewritten or probably adjusted, knowing the show was not going to carry on. That those speeches and things like that, I think, helped kind of button things up a little bit and give you a good sense of, point and counterpoint to the whole point of the show. And it was done okay.
Yeah, it was okay. I liked the show. I think what I would hope would happen would be that they would find a way, like either like what Netflix does or with some other some other organization would actually put this show back on and continue it, because I didn't think the story was finished. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that there was some things that needed to be, like, they finished the season and they got all that stuff done, but the overall kind of long-term storyline that they were going with, I thought that there was some stuff that they needed to finish in order to actually finish that show. But I was happy with the way that they ended up doing it. I mean, if you're going to get canceled and you don't really know you're getting canceled until like the end or whatever, then I feel kind of bad for it. But maybe they already knew that stuff, which is why they did what they did. But and that could have been one of the reasons that things got geeked up a little bit.
Well, and I think that the business side of this is what makes that an impossible proposition. I mean, and sadly, there's not like a, this show's getting canceled, now it's up for bid so another network or, something like Netflix can buy it. Now, they can go to the table now and try to negotiate something, but what ends up happening, Billy Burke is the lead character, and he's already got another job, so you've got 2 or 3 of them that already have cast onto another show, so they're not going to be up for wanting to join Revolution, the Netflix version, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a couple years down the road. I don't know. We'll see. Anything else going on out there, Brandon?
Oh, it's been a busy interview week, so feel free. We actually have spawned that out into its own little sub-site. So if you go to Dispatch Interviews, all one word, dispatchinterviews.com, you can get caught up on all the interviews there. We have folks from the new 24 show. I got interviews today, I think, with a gentleman that stars in The Beauty of the Beast from CW, which just got picked up for a 3rd season. And you know what? There's a couple weird news stories that are in there, too. We didn't even talk about the bounce house that blew away. Did we talk about that?
No. What's that again?
Yeah, the bounce house that blew away. I think it was in New York. Yeah. The gusty winds got it up to about 50 feet in the air, dropped the kids out of it. They're fortunately okay, but just, there's always some weird news in there too.
Yeah, well, there's definitely always some weird news out there. I mean, and the bouncy house, boy, that has got to be scary as all get out. Now, were they violating like some kind of did they not strap it down or something, or
no? Actually, that was the first assumption, but they had witnesses on the scene who said, "Hey, listen, he strapped it down. I saw him do it myself," and things like that. So it just seemed like a kind of a bizarre sequence of events and things in nature that kind of did this. And by the way, I have to point out that we talked about it 2 or 3 weeks ago, but somebody asked why we didn't talk about Big Bang Theory and do trivia again. I said, well, how am I supposed to work that into the conversation? But now I can say I at least tried.
All right, we'll go with that.
I feel like a show pony when it comes to Big Bang Theory. My daughter actually puts me on the spot from time to time because I know rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock by heart.
You're talking about the explanation of how to play, right?
Yeah, I can do the whole thing, just off the top of my head, and she just finds that fascinating. So whenever she's with her friends and they'll say about, they disagree over something, she'll like, all right, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, Dad, explain the rules. And I have to entertain my family.
That's very nice. There's one line of one movie that I can do that is that does wow people, and I will do it now. You ever, Brandon, do you remember watching the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Sure.
Okay. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows his kid who's going with the crew who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious. Sorry.
Thank you, Mom.
Damn, Brandon! Oh,
nice.
Give him a clap for that. Come on now. That deserves a clap. Oh, that's the guys. No problem whatsoever. Fry. Oh, Brandon, man. Wow. Man, Brandon, that is so cool, man. That made my day. That made my day right there.
It's what I do. I'm kind of that pathetic geek that's on the side of that table when he knows that kind of stuff. I don't even know why I know. It's really kind of one of those scary things. My wife will look at me, and she's kind of got over trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I don't know why it's in there, but it just rolls around.
Yeah, it happens,
Alex,
man.
too.
It happens. No, I do the same thing, man. I'm that geek with you, brother. I totally can do stuff. It's weird stuff I remember. I don't know why. I just don't remember. I just remember those things. So,
but he forgets to tell me if we have an important meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure that stuff out. It's making it adventurous for you. His name is Brandon. The website is the Global.
Wait. Let me ask you a Big Bang Theory trivia question. Then.
Sure.
This is one of my favorites. You know that many times, obviously, Sheldon's shirts, T-shirts, and all the pop culture shirts are always such a big deal. Why is he wear that? What is the meaning behind the blue one that has just a little white circle and it says 73 on it?
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. What is the answer?
Well, the best number is 73. Why? Because 73 is the 21st prime number, and its mirror 3 and 7 is the 12th, and its mirror 21 is the product of multiplying 7 and 3, and its binary 73 is a palindrome 1001001, which is backwards is 1001001.
Wow. You know, I actually do think I heard that.
I have heard that.
Yep, I do. I actually have heard that. Which, man, I can't believe I didn't get that one.
That's Sheldon's speech on 73. It's why he had to assure himself, because 73 is the best number.
I bow to your geekness, sir.
Yes.
I bow. I am envious. I am envious of that. You have done well.
All right.
All right. Well, the website is theglobaldispatch.com. His name is Brandon. Brandon, thank you so much. We appreciate you calling in, brother.
All right. Take care, guys. Talk hard.
Talk hard. Damn,
Got
he
you
was
on
good.
that one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. That was a good time, though. That was a really good time. Man, that is awesome. It does suck about Revolution that it's going away, but oh well.
Yeah, I know. It does. I think, I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. That's something that the network completely just tanked a whole great series.
Yeah, I actually think some of it is their own problem.
Yeah, I was really upset. So, that's going to be last.
Oh, that's last?
Yeah, I see what you have pulled up. But, so I'm pretty sad about that. And I didn't put this story up there, but I have it. And I actually thought that maybe Brandon would have it, but he didn't. So we've talked about Detroit and how everything has gone bad there. And how they're all bankrupt and all these things. And, every once in a while we hear a story about like just some voluntary action that's making Detroit better. Well, Dennis Leary is actually giving Detroit firefighters all new equipment that they can't afford because the city's bankrupt. And he's basically donating all the proceeds from one of his movies to do this.
That's really cool, man.
That's awesome.
That is cool of Dennis Leary to do something like that. I love hearing those stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The stories of a guy doing something like that, and again, is he going to get some attention out of it? Sure he is, but deservedly so. Yeah. And I'm sure Leary would do it whether he was getting attention for it or not. Exactly. He seems like one of those guys.
And quite frankly, I don't have a problem with him getting attention for that because he's actually doing something about it. What I have a problem are the mouthpiece ones that get plenty of mic time, plenty of camera time, but they're not backing it by those kinds of actions. Right. They're out there touting their political beliefs and wanting you to come along for their ride. Matt Damon, for example, or Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Guys who go out and do a whole lot of talking. Not saying they don't do anything, but they're out there doing a whole lot of talking. You don't hear so much about these kinds of things. And here you got Dennis Leary. He's not out there trying to influence people using his microphone to put out his political beliefs, but he's putting his money there and doing what he knows is the right thing to do.
Yeah. He saw firefighters in Detroit not having proper equipment, and he said, you know what, the city's broke, but I have money, and I'll fix it.
Yeah, I got a movie coming up. Let me throw some of the scratch your way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm going to put a little bit of that scratch through your fire trucks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I like those little voluntary. And we keep hearing from Detroit all these like voluntary things that are going on that's actually making the city, get through this hard time and everything. The government that's being shut down and all the bankruptcy and everything like that, the people are starting to recover from that because of voluntary actions of other people.
Libertarianism in practice, folks.
Yeah.
Detroit is still alive today, not because of the government, but because of individuals working to do the right thing without the compulsion of government. Libertarianism.
Right?
America.
Well, Detroit, actually.
Well, Detroit.
Because the rest of us.
Well, Detroit's in America.
Detroit is in America.
And so far, America ain't libertarian.
Well, no, very, very much so. Not yet. It's getting there, though. It's getting there.
When you say libertarian, you don't go America because America ain't it.
Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there, though. And well, this isn't on the list. Oh no, it is on the list. Okay, we'll wait till hour number 3 for that then.
Yes, that's coming up next.
Who's that wearing that shirt, by the way?
This is Tony Otero's son.
Oh, there you go.
He actually, I think he wore it to civics class.
Oh, nice. Even better.
Yeah.
A Wiley for Governor shirt, man.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Every once in a while for the campaign, we'll get like people that will call in and be like, hey, is it okay if we wear a Wiley shirt here? Just a little hint. I'm okay with you wearing your Wiley shirt everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much about everywhere, but it depends on what you're into. Like if there's certain things that you're into, like, like don't be wearing your Wiley shirt at like a NAMBLA convention,
Oh, okay. That would maybe be a no-no.
Yeah, like don't go there. But I can't think of many places though. But I had to disagree with you a little bit just because
I want one of those.
It's Friday.
This is the Wiley
That's
Walsifer shirt.
Yes, and those shirts are awesome. I love those shirts.
So at the convention over the weekend, and this was not done through either of the campaigns, just so I can put that out there so nobody starts complaining that we violated a campaign rule.
Yep.
No, this was not put out through the campaign. Someone else outside the campaign made a Wiley and Walsifer t-shirt. So it says like Wiley for governor, Walsifer for attorney general. So it's got a big thing on the back, but I love it. So, I think that's a great team. You need to elect both Adrian Wiley and Bill Walsifer.
I like candidates with a W.
Yeah.
The double W.
The double W. So, all right, well, let's take a break. Let's get a break going on in here. You're listening to Liberty Underground. Next hour, we're going to get into a lot of things. You got the military, you got Rick Scott, you got blind trust, redistricting, Van Zants, and all kinds of excitement. Hour number 3 coming up, Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authority, man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground. Along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, my own personal Wikipedia, Danielle Alexandra. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well.
Doing well? Doing
Yeah,
good?
doing
feeling
very
good?
well.
You feeling good, huh?
I am.
Doing good, huh? Nice, good. Good,
Not,
doing
not
good.
such a fan of all the voices today.
Not a
but-
fan of the voices, huh? Okay, well, we'll have to keep that going then. Also, the Prime Minister of the Sinister, the guy working the boards, he's doing a good job working the boards, good guy. Greg Bowen, how you doing?
Spectacular. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, Greg?
I'm doing good, Tony.
Hey, good, you doing good. All right, I'm done with it. All right,
Okay,
I'm done.
thank
I'm
you.
done. All right, well, you know what? Without any further ado, let's just get into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get in there. There's a lot going on, man. We got another hour of the show left, man. Let's make sure we get everything. Hit the marks, baby. It's all about hitting marks.
Well,
And,
if you were in Tampa today,
Which I was
actually not today. This would have been the last couple days. This was on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. You may have been surprised by military helicopters, special forces teams, and the sounds of gunshots all around the Tampa Bay.
And it wasn't just because of a drive-by.
And this was not a drive-by. No, this
A flyby.
This was an international training exercise at the Tampa Convention Center with Special Operations Forces. It was at the Special Operations Forces Industry Conference.
What? I don't. Is it any coincidence that they had the Libertarian Party of Florida convention in Tampa, and then immediately following that they had the international, the internet? What do they call it again?
The Special Operations Forces Industry Conference.
Yeah, I don't. Is that a coincidence, or is my tinfoil hat on too tight?
I'm not sure. You know what? I really can't say, but I can say I don't know if the Special Operations Forces should have an entire industry that needs a conference.
And and by the way, that is a black helicopter that they were using.
A Black Hawk.
A black. Well, no, the color is black too, though.
Well, yeah.
What are you, racist?
No, it's a Black Hawk though. It's a black helicopter though. You know how they always say like tinfoil hat people, it's black helicopters. Well, that's a black helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
How crazy are those people when they have black helicopters like that? And in Tampa, what's going on? Look, nobody's going to take over the convention center.
This was delegates from 84 nations were attending the conference, which is focusing on strengthening the global Special Operations Forces network.
I don't want our military involved in that.
Like, okay, now, and I don't know, all of us have been to, like, trade shows and conferences. I mean, I'm going to assume that all of us in the line of some job we've had over the years have had to either be at the booth of a trade show or been at a trade show because it was like an industry trade show. I worked in restaurants. Every year, Cisco put on this big trade show where you would go around as restaurant owners and sample all of the new products that were coming out. I don't know if I'm comfortable with the special operations of our military having this type of conference.
Yeah, I don't want our secrets going to the other countries. Like, if we have good techniques, then let's us keep those good techniques for us. There's no need to share them.
There's no need to set up a booth in the convention center like, hey, China, you want to see what new things we have rolling out for 2015?
Yeah.
Now you know why the Chinese killed Bruce Lee.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's a weird deal, man. It is definitely a weird deal on this one,
But not only did they have the conference inside the convention center, but like Tampa General Hospital had 6-man teams inside helos, 14-man teams converging on enemy encampments along Harbor Island Boulevard, ground mobility vehicles, another 14-man team infiltrating via water on rigid hull inflated boats. They had Blackhawks in there. They had a lot of kind of special forces you know, I don't even want to. I don't even know what you call it. Like shows of what they do. I mean, you know.
I think it's a lot like the military parades that the communist countries do.
Yeah, I mean this actually resembles that. The demonstration will be the demonstration will be part of the 4th International Special Operations Forces Conference. They've had 4 of these.
And they were so secret, this is the first one we found out about.
Yeah. Again, you know, the tinfoil hat is getting too tight today, but I'm telling you, just don't do it. Don't tell everybody else our secrets. Don't have a conference to make sure that you describe it correctly and have an agenda for telling our secrets.
This is how we enemy encampment. This is how we encamp people.
Exactly.
This is not like new 2015 encampment procedures. Come look, it's a demonstration. Come on, gather in.
Be sure to hit our special class at 2 p.m. on Saturday, How to Subdue a Libertarian.
You know.
Yes, you're being detained.
Hold on. Yeah, they have. You know how you have breakout sessions? Like, have you seen some of the names of some of the breakout sessions? You know, former military, how to encamp them. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
This is
what to do with the people that say the word Constitution too much.
How to get them in the boxcar quietly.
I mean, this is wrong.
Well, I wanted to actually attend the one breakout session that was the advancements in FEMA camp technology. I was really looking forward to going to that one, actually.
I was hoping they had some tips that had helped me get the LP10 up faster.
Oh, no, he didn't go down that road. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Everything about this is wrong. I'm just appalled that you know, it's one thing because they did do these kind of military demonstrations before the RNC, which, you know, is just one of these shows of forces, which I was appalled then. I'm even more appalled that they have a whole conference, that this is a trade show on how to kill people or how to militarize your country.
I'd like to go down there this weekend, though. Is the trade show the whole weekend?
I have no idea.
Maybe we should go down there.
Is it open to the public?
Maybe we should. Oh, is it open to the public?
I don't know. Are we one of the 84 delegates from the nations that are attending?
Are they having a press event?
Oh.
That we could go to.
That we could go to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see?
So
I'm not totally useless.
I am appalled that this even happens. I really am. That there's a trade show for military special forces.
You know what? Here's the thing. Before we just denounce all of this thing, let's go this weekend. Let's just go have a good time. Let's go down there and bring the kids. Do they have some kid-friendly events down there? You know, like rappelling for toddlers and things like that. Is there any of that stuff there? Because I'd like to get in on this.
Any balloons or anything?
Well, I'm sure they have balloons, but, you know.
How to smell narcotics and tell the police on your parents.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see.
Do your parents have anything that looks like this?
I was just completely just not even in shock, just angry.
Just angry, huh?
Just angry. Like, that just made me angry.
I gotcha. I can understand that.
I actually was very angry at our state for the entire week. Now that session has ended, you know how everyone goes, "Yay, session's ended. They can't do anything more to us." Well, now all the legal challenges we start to hear about, all the legal challenges that have been kind of brewing all year that nobody's talked about because of sessions start coming up to the surface. One of them is the redistricting
from last year.
This is actually 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is 2 years ago. The redistricting got legally challenged right away because it definitely looked like there was some gerrymandering going on to protect certain Republican areas.
Yeah, but hold on though. But before, I just want to make sure that we say this though. They were protecting Democrats too, though.
Oh yeah.
Like, they were willing to make Democrat areas in addition to Republican areas.
Well, what they're saying, what the legal challenge is saying is that while what they did was push minority voters like maybe like a section, like maybe a precinct or like maybe a district was pretty heavily minority voters, but when you went to the surrounding districts, they had a pretty good concentration, but not as concentrated as that district. What they were doing was making that whole area one district, so that minority voters were all in one district.
Yeah.
But what that does, even though yes, there will probably always be a Democrat that's elected in that district, like there is now. What that will do is all the surrounding districts will always have a Republican.
Yeah.
So it actually just strengthened Republicans, because that district was always probably going to go Democrat or, hopefully Libertarian. Anyways, they really kind of, the legal challenge basically shows how this really just kind of protected Republicans and completely in areas. Now, the legal challenge came up because while it does look like there was definitely some gerrymandering going on, some people were given the maps, like political strategists were given the maps before the legislature.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh no, it's bad. What they were doing was basically their political strategists, their boys, they're giving them the maps ahead of time.
Yeah.
Is this going to work out for us? Can you let me know?
Well,
yeah.
Do I need to change this?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's probably exactly
what it's for.
Two of the GOP's main consultants, Rachel Durfer and Pepper, are consultants and got advance notice of all the new congressional maps, sometimes as much as 2 weeks ahead of them being made public or being given to the legislature.
Yeah.
So now they all deny that they redrew any lines or suggested ways to bolster Republican voting strength. But at the end of the day, why did they get them then?
Yeah. Here's the thing. What they're not saying is the reason why.
Right. While they're saying, oh, no, we didn't do anything wrong. Well, why did you do it? Like, you knew no one was supposed to have it. Why did you give it to them?
Yeah.
Nobody's stating the purpose. Now, Don Gates and Will Weatherford have both been on the stand this week in 2 different days. I think Gates was up first. No, Weatherford was up first on Tuesday. Gates was up on Wednesday. Both of them actually admit that they held some private meetings on these congressional maps. And but both of them denied that they were rigging the district lines, but they were saying, well, we just wanted to make sure that we were being fair, and so we brought in some other people. They were just trying to avoid certain things. But at the end of the day, they both admit to wrongdoing, because these are huge no-nos when it comes to redistricting years. You can't have private meetings, and you can't give the maps out, especially to, strategists and consultants, but you can't give the maps out to anyone before they're made public. It's only the task force that is making the congressional maps are the only people allowed to see them, and it is literally veiled in secrecy. You are not allowed to have any kind of backroom meetings or secrecy as far as they're the only ones that are allowed to know about it until the map is made public. There are no meetings with anyone else that's allowed, but these guys both admit to doing it. They both admit to giving the maps out before they were supposed to give them out, but then they both tried to spin it. Both Gates and Weatherford tried to say, well, we were just ensuring that everything was going to be fair.
Yep. Do you trust them? I mean, do you trust these guys to be doing the right thing? I think the answer there would be an overwhelming no.
No.
Now, Gates and Weatherford were not only speaking on that hearing this week, but there was another one. The Supreme Court of Florida was looking to take up a case that would, because there's a legal challenge to what's called a blind trust. Basically, and Rick Scott is a big user of these blind trusts. So what happens is if you're, very well off, every candidate for office, at some point, like once you qualify and everything, you have to give a financial disclosure, which basically shows everything you own. Everything you own, all the money that you have, where you're getting it from, you have to disclose all of this, all the properties you own, everything, all of your assets has to be disclosed. Well, what some of these candidates do, and Governor Rick Scott is one of the main ones that does this, is they move a large chunk of their assets into what's called a blind trust. Now, a blind trust is taken care of by a third party. You don't know what happens with it. Where that money goes from there, you have no idea. You're not allowed to know. When it's blind, it means you're blind. Like, the owner of the money has no idea what happens with it afterwards. They have a contract that says the guy isn't going to steal it from them, but, there's some contractual things there. But you have no idea where the money is at that point. It's a blind trust. But you still own it. These have been exempt from financial disclosure forms. So they move a large amount of their assets into these blind trusts so that they show a lot smaller amount of assets, and anything that may be shady, like HCA owning one of the second largest drug testing companies in the state. All of those things can be hidden in a blind trust. You won't have to disclose it.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too, by the way. Look, you can have a blind trust all you want to, but if you own one of those companies, you don't have to see it in order to say that if you're going to make a policy that's going to benefit them, that it's still going to benefit them whether it's blind or not. You got to sell it in order to be able to make that claim.
Okay. So there was a legal challenge to the use of blind trust, and what they were saying is you can use a blind trust, but that means you have to say that you at least own it. So at least the people say, you know what, they own, $10 million in assets, $100 million in assets in this blind trust. Now, we don't know what that money's invested in, but why don't we know? I mean, or let the people decide if that's agreeable to them or not, if they care or not. But you basically take this right off your books. So
it's like you don't even own it.
Yeah, like you don't even own it. So there was a legal challenge to this. Weatherford and Gates pleaded this to the Supreme Court not to even hear the case. Both Don Gates and Will Weatherford, implored the Supreme Court, the Florida Supreme Court, to not hear the case. And in the end, the Florida Supreme Court did come out and say that they will not hear the blind trust case.
Yep. Looks like the Supreme Court, not very independent body.
So, we don't know what's going to happen with the redistricting case. That's still an ongoing case. There has been admissions of wrongdoing. If that turns into anything, I actually doubt it. I mean, with the way the Florida Supreme Court just bends to the whim of Weatherford and Gates on the blind trust issue, I don't trust them to do this issue. And I have to say this now, we don't elect Supreme Court justices to the Florida Supreme Court, but we do vote to retain them or not.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're doing. Next time you see the Supreme Court justices up on your ballot, remember that they're willing to hide things from you.
Yep. Never retain any judges ever. That's just a blanket rule.
I
have never in my entire life voted to retain a judge.
Yeah. I think judges should be changed. I think if you're on the bench too long, it becomes you're especially in the Florida Supreme Court, you're way too close to what's going on in Tallahassee. You're way too close and buddies with all of the legislators that are up there. You should not stay up there for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree with you on that one. And let's make sure again. When are these guys up? Do you know when that one's that's not on the 14 ballot, is it?
No, that's going to be on the presidential ballots. That's 4 years. So that'll be 16.
That'll be 16. All right. Well, we'll make sure we can put a lot of things out to remind people to not keep any of the judges.
Make sure and hype that up when the time comes.
Because that's ridiculous. These are two challenges that at least should be heard. Redistricting is being heard, but the blind trust isn't even. I mean, they're not even letting it be heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a couple of the things still going on in Tallahassee. Now, Rick Scott, there's a press association forum that goes on every gubernatorial election year.
Yeah.
The Florida Press Association and it's one other, the Newspaper Editors Society gets together and they do a candidate forum. Now, the forum does turn into a little bit of a debate. It's not an official debate, but there is a little back and forth where one candidate pretty much speaks right after the other, but they kind of... The other, these candidates can go up for rebuttals and things like that. So there is a little bit of a debate aspect to it, even though it's not really a debate where they're up, side by side. Rick Scott has been very unclear if he's going to show up. He has basically been kind of ambivalent. He doesn't say anything. But his spokesperson has made some, because, Charlie Crist does not want to debate Nan Rich, and he's made that very clear.
Because he's scared.
Because he's scared. He's scared. But basically what Rick Scott's campaign has says, basically, I appreciate the invitation. We'll make decisions about debates and forums at an appropriate time. But then his campaign manager went on to say, the governor will debate the Democratic nominee in the fall. Charlie Crist should stop playing games and stop hiding from Nan Rich. What is he scared of?
Yeah.
Well, that hints to a no. We're not really sure yet. Now, the one thing is Nan Rich has been invited, and they are considering inviting Adrian Wiley. And it does say, they have put out that in a statement that they are considering inviting also Adrian. They are going to have some criteria that they were going to set yesterday. I haven't heard back yet what the criteria was, but if he hits the criteria, they do publicly say that they're looking at inviting him as well. So we'll kind of know that within the next week or so on what's going to happen with that, and that's scheduled for July 10th. But again, Rick Scott just not wanting to really talk to the people, or he shies away from anything that may give him any hard questions, or he was blindsided in Collier, basically. He really thought he was going to do well and be like, no, it's our standards. It's not Common Core. He didn't realize he was going to a group of people who knew exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah, he didn't know who he was messing with. Right?
Well, and the thing is this, I really do think that we ought to just go down to that place July 10th and 11th no matter what.
I think we probably will. Now, also, Rick Scott was busy this week, though. And he maybe not have been at the Special Forces Operations Conference because he was out and about with Chris Christie in Tampa.
Oh, Chris Christie, double C.
Now, I don't know if appearances with Chris Christie help or hurt you at this point.
I guess
I would go with the hurt, but
I guess it depends on whether or not he's blocking out the camera.
Well, that's true, and it depends on where you're doing it at. Like if you're doing it at a buffet, man, having Christie, man, going to do some damage. You know what I'm saying? And that's from one big guy to another. So I'm allowed to say that. I'm a big guy too.
This is what you also
actually.
Have
I'm
to
only
look at.
one of Chris Christie. Chris Christie.
You are only one of Chris Christie.
Like I'm a big boy, but I ain't got the girth that the Christie has. That's for sure.
Now, Chris Christie. You have to wonder why the governor of New Jersey cares about who the governor of Florida is.
Well, I'm surprised he's not going for Chris, though.
Well, yeah, it does surprise me, but I think he did in 2006.
You think later on he'll do a fundraiser for Chris too, or for Chris too?
He might.
Like he'll do one for Scott, one for. I would like to see him do a dual fundraiser for both of them at the same time.
Well, he's actually the chairman of the Republican Governors Association.
Yeah.
Although he tends to only go out campaigning for Republican governors in swing states.
Correct. Correct. And if you really do, you think most governors want Chris Christie there?
No.
Stay in Jersey, guy. We don't need you down here. Right. I don't want Chris Christie in Florida, to be honest with you.
No.
I don't think it's proper for that gentleman to be in the state of Florida.
I actually think politically it does more for Chris Christie to be here with Rick Scott than it does for Rick Scott to be here with Chris Christie.
Yeah. That could be true, too. So, and listen, at the end of the day, Chris Christie's running for president in 2016, and he may say he hasn't decided yet, but there is every single thing points to him running. There's no reason why he only campaigns for governors in swing states. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I puked a little bit in my mouth on that one. I'm sorry. I couldn't handle it. It's not what you consider to be a good time. I just, oh God, he's a bad governor. He's just so bad. All right. It almost makes you speechless. Like, okay, we're going to have to do something on the show. It's going to have to be, we're banning Chris Christie from the show.
Are we banning, any mention of Chris Christie?
No more mentions of Chris Christie. If you do have to use his name in a story where indirectly he was involved, we're going to use the term Moonbat Springsteen.
Can we just call him Jupiter?
Yeah, Jupiter. Okay,
the largest object in the solar system that is not the sun.
Yeah, Jupiter. From now on, any reference to Chris Christie will now be known as reference to Jupiter's. So it is written, so it shall be done.
All right, then. And now, this was this is a reschedule.
Who?
Jupiter.
Okay.
Jupiter was rescheduling because he was actually supposed to be here about a month ago, but inclement weather stopped him from coming.
Is that like when they closed the FEMA offices up there?
Probably.
For the hurricane that they had?
Probably. I don't know. But, I mean, and they basically went out and, you know, I never understand how anyone can say that Republicans are for small government. Because they actually campaign going, look at how much money we spent here. And that's exactly what they did. They went to the Port of Tampa and basically talked about the $1 billion that Florida spent on ports and other infrastructure around the state.
I'm glad that $1 billion was so well spent that the overpass by my house collapsed a week ago. Yeah, you guys remember that was just a few miles from my house. I think they probably needed a couple more bucks, or maybe just somebody who knew what they were doing to direct the money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love how whenever we see these big campaign events, they're always like, look how much money I've spent to bring you this. We're the party of small government and fiscally conservative values.
Yeah.
What?
I never understand it. I'll never understand it for as long as I live. It's enough to drive you batty. It's like, you know what? I wrote something about a week ago online, and it was that this race for the governor of Florida is literally showing both sides to be complete hypocrites.
Right.
And that, like, they will attack, the Republicans will attack Obama, rightfully so, that the unemployment rate that they're using is wrong, that the unemployment numbers are wrong, that they are not accurately reflecting the real unemployment in this country, which is in the teens, if not in the 20s. It's higher than anything that they're going to admit. Now, the reason that they do this is to try to placate the American public so that they think that it's not that bad. When in all reality, they've seen their neighbors. They know how bad it is. They just think that they're doing way worse than everybody else. They don't realize that everybody's doing this bad. So the Republicans, rightfully so, will go after Obama for the unemployment numbers. But all of a sudden, that unemployment number seems to be different in the state of Florida, even though they're using the same calculations, they're using the same flawed math to be able to put the unemployment numbers for Florida, and somehow for Rick Scott, it's a good thing, even though the labor participation rate is just as bad in Florida as it is nationwide.
We're actually on the lower end of the spectrum.
We're actually on the lower end of the spectrum, so things are not even necessarily better, but because more people in Florida quit looking, they take you off the rolls here quicker in Florida. And it's not just like the politician. It's the pundits. They'll use, well, look at what Rick Scott's doing in Florida. Look how low his unemployment rate is. And Obama really is doing bad. Look, he's not telling the truth about the numbers. In the same segment, they'll bring up both. And you're looking at them like, how do you maintain that level of hypocrisy with a straight face? The only other person I can do it, the only other person that can be that much of a hypocrite and keep a straight face is the guy you're running against, because Charlie Crist is the flip-floppiest flip-flopper that ever flipped a flop. Trademark by Alex Snicker, 1787network.com. I mean, and again, Democrats. Charlie Crist was pro-life, was called Chain Gang Charlie for a reason, was against gay marriage, was against civil liberties, was a crony capitalist, or whatever you want to call him. He is all those things. Left the party because he didn't want to challenge Rubio in the primary, by the way, not because of all the other things that he's claiming on. He didn't leave because of racism. He left because he was getting his tail kicked between his legs because he hugged Obama and he liked the stimulus. That's why he left. For him to go independent and then to go Democrat and then to be your standard bearer, you're literally throwing away Nan Rich, who was, I mean, look, I don't agree with Nan Rich on her policies for the most part. I mean, she is a Democrat. She's a
Democrat.
But she's a Democrat.
A real one.
Yeah. She was around when Charlie was a Republican.
As the Democrat, as the minority leader.
Yeah, as the minority leader.
A Democrat.
And here's the thing. Charlie Crist will not debate Nan Rich and says, I'm only looking at the Republican. I'm not looking at the Democrat to debate. Like, he doesn't even want to engage in an honest debate in his newfound party. If you're okay with that enough that your primary comes down and you vote for Charlie Crist, again, I don't know what level of hypocrisy that you're comfortable with, but I would imagine that your tolerance is pretty high because it doesn't get more hypocritical than this. Dude was a Republican the last time he was in office as the governor and the guy that was the guy before Rick Scott.
We were at an event.
I'm not, one more thing. I'm not making any of this up. This is what's going on. If you choose to ignore it, you choose to ignore it at your own peril. But remember this, most people that don't have the same stake in this, in government, are going to view you as a hypocrite, and I'm going to do all I can to make sure that they see it. So this will be your albatross that we're going to put around your neck, for the record. Go Wiley, WileyForGovernor.com.
We were at an event this week, and someone asked, and you know, we're with a group that's nonpartisan, you know, so we try to stay out of these races and things like that. So, you know, someone asked, you know, how do we trust someone who changes their mind so often? And John said, which one? Charlie Crist or Rick Scott? And then someone else was like, well, what's it going to look like if Charlie Crist gets in office? And he goes, the last 3 years of Rick Scott.
Well, there you could look back over the last 3 years, skip a year, and then go back over the 8 before that, and that's exactly what it's going to look like.
4 before that.
I thought he had 2 terms.
No, you can only have 2 terms total. He was there for 4 years. The only reason he can run again is because he wasn't there for 8. We have term limits in Florida.
Right, but I thought he did all 8.
No, 4.
My bad.
No,
that's fine.
Here's the other thing. And this is some of the stuff I'm starting to hear now from people. The fear tactics against Crist have not been working nearly as effective as those that would have liked him to work are thinking that it's working. Because people are kind of looking at it like, what's the worst that can happen if Charlie gets elected? Like, they're looking at it like, what's the worst that can happen? Which, in all honesty, it's not much worse than what you would have gotten from the GOP. And the reason why is, look, there is no doubt whatsoever that at least for the next, after 2014, that the majority of the Republicans will hold the majority in the state house and the state senate. I mean, barring a miracle where every MPA wins and every libertarian wins, barring that, the Republicans are going to keep controlling Tallahassee in the House and in the Senate.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it might even still be, they might get back to veto proof, which is what they were before.
Yeah, possibly.
Mm-hmm. The thing I don't understand is, what do you think the guy can do? He's the governor. He's not he doesn't have the executive authority that the president, that they've given to the president, that the Republicans have given to the president.
Right.
But they have done this stuff. They know what's going to happen. Charlie Crist is not a scary guy in that aspect, at least comparative to the Republicans. If you really want to make a change, you go for Wiley, because the other two are basically going to do the same thing.
Well, they're basically just going to sign stuff. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, who do you think out of any of them is going to veto anything?
I mean, they'll veto a couple
Rick
things
Scott
here
will
and there.
veto medical marijuana.
Yes, which he won't be able to because it's a constitutional amendment. So aside from that, what are they going to veto? You think Charlie Crist is going to veto the big spending Republicans do? No, he didn't before when he was supposed to be the conservative Republican governor.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Look, the safest vote you can make right now is for Wiley. Right. It's the safe vote. Look, let's say you don't even agree with everything that Adrian stands for. Let's just say all that. Look, hold your nose and vote for him then. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Scott or Chris get elected. It doesn't matter which one. It's poisoning and poisoning. It's not even a different kind of death. It's you're going to get poisoned or you're going to get poisoned. I'll emphasize a word as the difference. But the other thing is, these guys, if you want to make the case as to the lesser of two evils, it might be Charlie, or it might be Charlie Crist.
Yeah, we'll bring you in the line. What's your name?
He's a lot different than. Let me see if I can say this the right way. Charlie Crist is a flip-flopper, but if you pressured him on the flip, maybe he'll stay on the flip for that one enough to be able to pass that law.
Well, he definitely does go by how much pressure he's getting. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if you look at the way he does things, I mean, he just does whatever he thinks is going to get him the least amount of resistance.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, he's going for least amount of resistance.
So if if we really start calling the governor's office, Charlie Crist might actually listen.
Yeah. Who's on the line, by the way?
Better turn my mic back on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a caller on the line, Don from Largo.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Is it picking up there?
Yeah, it's picking up.
There
the
we go.
Skype sounds are
All right, the Skype sounds on. Don, you're on the air.
Yeah, I heard you talking about the 13th district and the redistricting trial that's going on in the Tallahassee.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you mention the actual letter of the law. I've tried to look it up. I understand it's in Chapter 3, Articles 20 and 21, or Amendment 6. But I believe the letter of the law says that they're not supposed to change political or geographical boundaries in order to create a benefit for a political party. And there's no more significant political boundary than the county of Pinellas that's shaped like a peninsula. You know, and they sliced off a big section and shipped it 15 miles across the bay. I can't see anything more anti-law than what they did here in this county. And then this guy, Jolly, runs around saying, I'm for the citizens of Pinellas County. That's what the law says, but it ought to be, but that's not what it is. You know, there's different interests between people in St. Pete and the people in Tampa, the stadium being one of them. You know, and for example, whether to help rebuild the pier money, you know, it's different community of interests, and it's totally against the law. I don't understand. It would be like treason to me that the sovereign was violated. There was a referendum, it was voted on, and they deliberately decided to violate the sovereign, the will of the people.
Well, Pinellas has a history of that.
Yeah, no, and these guys, I mean, they made a career out. I mean, think about it like this. There's like a 50, or what is it, like a 100-foot section that goes like 100 miles down on the other coast of Florida that's part of a congressional district.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you can say that, well, just that 50-foot section, 100 miles down, that's the area. It should be more geographical than it is, and that was what they were supposed to be doing with Amendment 5 and 6.
The legal challenge, and the legal challenge is because they feel like it was done by minority base, which minority base would show what party is going to be elected and what referendums are going to pass. And St. Pete is a good example of that because that's a more minority-rich area than the rest of Pinellas County, and that's why they were moved into another district that was predominantly minorities. So their legal challenge even holds true even in a place like Pinellas. That's what that was the grounds of the legal challenge, that it was done by minority, the amount of minorities in a district, and making sure that they stayed in a more minority-rich district, and that's why the movement was around. But that would show stronger Republican base as soon as they move those people out.
Yep.
And I think it was C.W. Bill Young was the most prominent, powerful Republican around, and he had to make sure that he or his successor were elected in this district. I think it was probably a myopic one-person idea for this Pinellas County thing.
Well, I don't see anything because Bill Young is U.S. Congress, and this would be done in Tallahassee. The
guys in Tallahassee were trying to help Bill Young,
and that may have happened. We don't have any evidence of that. We have evidence of the consultants getting the agreements early.
Oh, I got you. Well,
these are consultants that work for representatives and senators to get into Tallahassee.
Yeah, I mean, indirectly, it's there.
Right.
I mean, totally there. I mean,
I just want to make sure that we're not making that claim that he had anything to do with it.
Okay, I got you. Anything else, Don?
Well, the whole thing about the money, you know, that you have to have so much money to be a candidate, and that nobody wants to look at you unless you have the money. There's two things, the gerrymander and the money, that we're in the play in the 13th Congressional District. When it's over, we're going to have a meeting somewhere that I can go to. You have an idea?
I don't know the exact location. I know that he is doing a lot of those things, but I don't know exactly where. If you go to, if you happen to be on the Facebooks, I know I call it the Facebook like it's plural.
On the Facebooks.
If you go to Lucas, if you type in Lucas Overby up there and look for his page, I'm sure he's got some town halls coming up, but I don't know exactly where they're located at. And you can also email Lucas at lucasoverby.com and ask him that question, and
And he personally answers all
and he'll
of them.
personally and he'll give you an answer to that question, and I'm sure he'd want to talk to you about this specific issue. So.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. I showed up at the radio station one time, and so told you I appreciated your viewpoint. Thank you very much.
No, my pleasure, man. Have a good day. Have a
Thank
good day.
you. I actually saved what I feel like is the best story for last.
Yeah, go ahead, because this one is kind of funny.
Now, we've been, the session just ended, and we've heard a lot about Representative Charles Van Zant because he was quite vocal on many issues. One issue he's been vocal about opposing is Common Core. And
Which we do agree with the opposition to Common Core.
we do agree with the opposition to Common Core, but this week, Representative Charles Van Zant from Keystone Heights basically came out and said that the reason he is against Common Core is because, and this was a direct quote, unless this is stopped, will promote double-mindedness in state education and attract every one of your children to become as homosexual as they possibly can.
You know what? Instead of me ranting about this, which I would like to do, but instead of doing this, I've already seen something that was spot on. And I'm going to read the statement that was done that was spot on. The statement is from Adrian Wiley, Libertarian candidate for governor, wileyforgovernor.com in case you're looking for it. And Adrian sums this up the best that I've ever seen it summed up. Representative Van Zant is engaging in the kind of hyperbole that takes an extremely serious issue and turns it into a farce. There are countless reasons why we should repeal Common Core, aka Next Generation Sunshine State Standards. The curriculum is rife with politically correct pablum and revisionist history. The implementation has been a case study in corruption, special interest influence, and cronyism. It will subject our kids to psychoanalysis and then direct them into government programs or forced medication based on dubious results. It will pigeonhole our kids into a career path based on some preconceived notion of aptitude. It will stifle our kids' creativity and critical thinking and instead focus on rote memorization of answers to standardized tests. The curriculum is horrible. The math is incomprehensible. The psychological evaluations are prejudicial, and the data mining is highly intrusive. For those reasons, I will continue to fight tirelessly to repeal Common Core. But will Common Core turn your children gay? No. We should focus on the numerous and substantive reasons that Common Core should be repealed without creating some boogeyman for bigotry. Well said, sir. Well said.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I have huge issues with Common Core. Huge. But them turning our children gay isn't one of them. And it takes a serious subject like the education of our children and turns it into a joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. And again, I don't know if this guy really is opposed to Common Core, if Van Zant is opposed to Common Core or not. Because what he did here did not help the cause of getting rid of Common Core. What it did was actually help the pro-Common Core people with now something that they can attack on the anti-Common Core side that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll tell you this. I can accept my son growing up to be gay. I cannot accept my son growing up to be someone who hates gay people as much as someone like Van Zant. Mm-hmm. That I would not be okay with.
I mean, it's just one of those things when I read this and I thought, well, I've heard Representative Van Zant say some really horrible things on the House floor.
Mm-hmm.
Just
he's good. He's good at that.
But just this session, but even constantly, it's so over the top. But this was just, you end up taking something, listen, most people that I talk to who are opposed to Common Core have a substantive, I can't even say the words right. I'm so angry. They have a real reason to be upset with this. Their children are there. They're watching their children come home and be just overwhelmed with, just memorization of facts and figures that have no meaning to them, that they're having to learn this new way of math, that if they don't get the way of doing it right, even though they get the answer right, they're still counted as wrong. You have teachers who have come to us over and over again saying, I'm watching the children take these quizzes online, that are reading these periodicals, that are being asked politically motivated questions and basically, psychological evaluations in these questions, because the questions are about their feelings on an issue. And after you've read this, how do you feel about the same politically motivated issue? And they said, we're not teaching children anything anymore except for how to think and to memorize these things. And teachers are upset. Children are frustrated. And Representative Van Zandt went out on a crusade to make all of their valid arguments null and void because someone in power said something so stupid and so bigoted as to make them look like they're the same as him.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like I said, I don't know if this guy's doing it on purpose or if he's just, naturally this stupid, but it's got to be one of the two. Why?
It seems to come natural to him.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, I always love how they talk about how you have to be, like, what do they call it? Accredited candidate or
credible?
Credible candidates. How is this guy credible?
Yeah.
How, if somebody runs against him, how is the other person somehow not credible, and yet this guy, this clown, credible? Because that's what he is. He's a clown. He's there to make you laugh. He's there to be funny, or to be bigoted to be funny, or he's there to just to make sure that Common Core goes through, and that anybody, just like Danielle just said, anybody that doesn't is somehow associated with a despicable piece of human trash like this guy. Because that's what he is. And look, and I don't care how you feel about the issue of homosexuality or not. I don't care if you're for it or against it or indifferent or whatever. It doesn't change the fact that the curriculum that they're talking about does not do what this guy thinks it's going to do. It does a whole lot of horrible stuff. I'll agree with you every day of the week on that. But it doesn't turn people gay. You just, you're dumb. Van Zandt, you're an idiot. You should not be holding political office. As a matter of fact, you got to ensure that you have a job where your name is on your lapel so you don't forget it. Or on your chest so you don't forget it.
He is indicative of why Republicans are horrible. Why calling me a Republican is the worst insult you could levy upon me.
Yeah.
Because to them, being gay is the worst possible thing that could happen. And they use that as the boogeyman for everything.
Yeah.
Anything that they're against, it's going to turn you gay. And that's what they use for it. It doesn't, I mean, Common Core is just another in a long list of issues that they have, when they realize how badly they are losing, they pull out it'll turn your kids gay.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Again, a class is not going to turn a kid, it's not going to turn a kid gay. I mean, the end of the day, and again, people are free. Look, if you don't agree with the lifestyle, I don't care, as long as you don't want the government to do anything about it. It's your business, not my business. But I think if you're going to be looking at those teachings in that book that you talk about so much, that you better look at the part of where you have to love everybody, despite their sins, despite their flaws, despite all these other things. And they come out and go, Common Core's going to turn your kid gay. Okay, you're just an idiot.
Quite frankly, I'm more worried about it turning my kid Republican.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm worried about anybody listening to you. At the end of the day, I don't want anyone to hear you because you are an idiot. I mean, you're truly the biggest moron up there. You have taken King Moron and you said, I'm going with it. My name's Van Zandt and I want your vote. I want your nomination for King Dummy. And he won in a landslide, folks. In a landslide.
Yeah, how anyone in his district cannot be like, this is not what we want to speak for us. I have to wonder how dumb his district is. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I haven't been out there, so I don't know. But there should be people in his district saying, whoa, 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 this guy doesn't speak for me.
Well, quite frankly, looking at the elected representatives across the state and
they
country,
should all be saying
they're
that.
no dumber than any other district, really.
It was just absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, there's just so many credible arguments against Common Core, and now all of those, especially because this is not some just parent who decided to say this. This is an elected representative in the state house. Every person who's against Common Core is now going to be, vilified in the media like they're like this person, where this is just an individual who's just a bigoted individual who is, doesn't even understand the concept of,
Unopposed, by the way.
He's unopposed.
Unopposed.
And quite frankly, he may be taking one for the team here.
Maybe.
He may be doing this intentionally. This may be controlled opposition. He may be doing this to do exactly that, to tarnish the name of the opposers to Common Core, to allow it to continue to go through.
Oh, I can't believe this guy's unopposed. Yeah. God, we got to find somebody to run.
There's still time for someone to pay the fee.
Yeah.
You can't get petitions at this point, but you can pay the fee.
Yeah. Yeah. I just,
because that's despicable what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand why I don't understand how this guy has a job, but at any rate.
And I do, and I agree with you, like what Greg said, everyone talks about how, you libertarians are harder on Republicans than you are on Democrats and stuff, because we find statements like that repulsive.
Yeah. And another reason why I answered this question at convention this past weekend. Who do you find easier to convert to libertarianism, Democrats or Republicans? Democrats all day long. This guy was a Republican that just turned to libertarian. He's like, well, why? I said, well, I can teach a Democrat economics. I can't teach a Republican respect for human rights. And he was kind of taken aback by that. And I said, you have to come to that conclusion yourself.
Right.
I have been in that debate too many times. All it is a fight. You don't convince anybody otherwise. They have to come to that conclusion themselves. When it comes to economics, you can teach someone economics.
The math is the math.
Yeah, the math is the same. It doesn't matter. You cannot change the result of the numbers. So I can teach somebody that. I can't teach you to respect human rights and to have some decency.
Let's end the show on a positive note here. Maybe not a positive mode, but let's see if this helps you guys at all understand why these guys get elected into office. There's a woman who named her daughter after her favorite superstore. Darla Hart of Henderson, Kentucky, loves to shop at Walmart. So much so that she decided to name her new baby Walma Hart in honor of her favorite superstore. I just love Walmart. They have a great selection, everything I need, and they saved me so much money over the years and have such a friendly customer service that I just wanted to repay them by naming my new daughter Walma Hart. Walmart officials are
now suing her for copyright infringement.
That would be awesome.
Sorry,
no, they're not. Hold on a second here, man. You're going to name your daughter after a store?
Did she vote for Van Zandt?
Walmart. She lives in Kentucky, so she probably voted for McConnell.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
I just don't understand it, folks. I don't understand how you're going to do this stuff. But look, at the end of the day, Common Core is bad. Go back to the real reasons Common Core is bad, though. Not to these things. Not to what Van Zandt says. It's bad for other reasons. Oh my gosh. It's... I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, Danielle has ruined the rest of the show. I'm blaming Danielle now.
Well, there's only 30 seconds left, so.
Oh, well, then she only ruined the last 30 seconds. All right, good on you, man. All right, guys, that's the show. Website, 1787network.com. Go there. You can check out for the podcasts. You can see some articles that we put up, or you can find ways in which to contact us and talk to us and, whatever. I like the big announcement. Hopefully that'll go well. I'm looking forward to that as well, starting on the 2nd. And we'll see you guys next week. Again, website, 1787network.com. We'll see you.